Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Darryl.
And Darryl. Oh, hey, everybody. It's Jeremy and Darryl from Chain Out Podcast, and welcome to our 50th episode.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, great job.
The $12 I spent at the dollar store is hanging in there.
Yeah, it's the gift that keeps on giving if anybody's been watching our little previews this week.
Yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed those.
Yeah, we kind of
enjoyed making them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I don't know, which was your favorite, do you think?
Actually doing them, I think that the bromance, the bro secret handshake was the one I enjoyed the most doing. But watching back the way that I made it and all the bloopers that we did in that first one, the first one that we did.
Right.
But the one that ended up being the funniest, with all the extra bloopers, I think was good.
Yeah, that was great. And we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. That's kind of a bit as we go through memory lane here tonight. It's a flashback to the early days of when we had some pre-records and a little bit more bloopers. But 50 episodes, Darryl, can you believe it?
It's amazing, Jeremy. I didn't even think we'd get past 10 episodes.
No, exactly. Like when we first started this, like who knew it would get there, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry.
But yeah, oh, sorry. And we might as well give everybody everything. Darryl is always making sure we have the best product out there. One of the things I like to do is we have a nice screen in front of me and I'm looking at the screen and I need to look up at the camera.
Let us know. Do you like it? Like, it doesn't matter. When we're interviewing people, we have a screen just underneath the camera where we can see the screen. And obviously, if you're interviewing somebody, you want to look at the person that you're talking to.
Yes, yeah.
But what I try and keep telling Jeremy is that to make it more engaging for the audience, if we look at the camera, then it looks like we're talking to you.
Yeah, hey, how you doing out there?
You
You're looking good.
Only took us 50 episodes, but we're getting there.
No, exactly. So we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. This is going to be a little free flow. We've got a bit of an outline here so that we can roll a whole bunch of excitement your way. But this episode here is an opportunity for us to celebrate the last 50, to thank you guys, thank the listeners, to get some of your thoughts, hopefully in the comments. We want you to be interactive with us tonight. Darryl's going to be hammering on the keys as best he can. And the buttons.
Buttons, keys, phone, I got it all going.
Yeah. And we want to share you some of our favorite moments that have happened. We want to give you some of your favorite moments. We're going to do a few different things.
Yeah.
So we had done...
And I'm going to be active in the chat as well. So if you have any questions in the chat, if you have any favorite moments, let us know as well. We'll be sure to let everyone know.
Yeah, and a lot of people will be watching on YouTube because that's what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
But you did something new for us tonight too.
I did. And hopefully if anyone is watching, maybe you can put a comment out, put a comment in there for us. But we're actually, for the first time, going live on Facebook at the same time. So if you're watching this back, if you didn't know, if you didn't get a notification, Facebook's more your thing. Hopefully in the future we'll be live on Facebook and live on YouTube. So if you're more of a Facebook person like Jeremy,
yeah, you can check it out. Well, no, I've come around to Instagram. I really have.
Yeah.
I always have to be careful. It's like Darryl manages the Instagram. I take care of the Facebook, which is usually pushed by Instagram anyway, so I don't have to do much. But every now and then I want to jump in and take on Instagram. He's like, Jeremy, I got a thing going on here.
I'll get a text message or I'll get an email or a notification to my DJ Disc Golf Instagram account with just post to story ? Like, it's okay, Jeremy. If you want to post it, you can post it. It's fine.
It's Team Canada. We support Team Canada, right? Yeah, so we did that. So like our live Ask Me Anything episode we did a while back, we're going to have a little bit of that in here, right? That's what we'll do is we've got some questions that some people have given us already. We'll take questions in the chat. And I don't know if we'll get to them all, but normally there's not a lot to get to, but we'll see how it goes.
Seems like we have quite a bit of engagement today. I just want to get to this point that Tim made, and it's almost funny because you'll know why this is kind of funny a little bit later on. Oh, there you go. The Thompsonator is watching.
The Thompsonator.
Oh, I thought he was watching on Facebook, but it's not. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, this question is from Tim.
Yes.
And he always likes it when I do this, but I just noticed this. So my favorite moment was an almost moment.
An almost moment?
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to...
I'm intrigued with this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't know. Okay, I got to put it up on screen now, and we can read it out for other people. I had Nate Sexton ready to join the podcast by surprise. I came on with the intent of an impromptu Nate Sexton interview, but at the last second he had to bail. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's
That would've-
amazing,
that
Tim.
would've
That would have been... Whew.
Wow, I don't know what I would have done at that point.
Well, one thing we do know is that Tim has bought enough Nate Sexton Firebirds
Exactly.
that he's probably got Nate Sexton on speed dial at this point.
Yeah.
Direct line, bat line to Nate Sexton.
Yeah. Well, if that was, I mean, if that would have happened, that would have been awesome. Thanks, Tim.
Yes. But yeah, thank you for that effort. But we have another exciting piece of news that we've got, I think, before we really dig into the 50th episode here.
I think so.
And this is something that you have been integral in making happen, so I want you to reveal it.
You mean I've been like a dog with a bone and I haven't let it drop, and I've just been like knocking on your door. Come on, Jeremy. When are we doing it? When are we doing it, Jeremy?
It's going to happen.
Yeah. So it's been quite a lot of things that happened at Chain Out Podcast, and I don't mean this in a negative way. It just shows that the thought process that we go through. We already have a plan. I mean, this is another reason why we get people messaging us saying, "Hey, I'd love to be on the podcast."
Yes.
But in reality, we probably have the next 5 or 6 guests already planned out. We've spoken to them. We've got a kind of a roadmap of where we're going. So this thing has been in the works for quite a while. We teased it last week. So if you watched last week's episode, we did mention that we'd have an announcement. But this one is particularly out there for Southern Alberta.
Yes.
It's been a while to set up. We've tried to get all the logistics in place, but we've wanted to do a remote episode.
We've wanted to take Chain Out on the road is essentially what we want to do.
Exactly.
But
And we're better to take it, if we're going to go to a remote location.
Yes.
There's only one type of location that we could have gone to.
Yeah. No, we're not going to go to a disc golf park and sit on a bench. We're not going to do that.
We're not going to do we're not going to do it from the 18th green.
We're not going to the library, not these two guys, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we can kind of drop a hint of where. Cheers.
Cheers.
Chain Out cocktail, tasting good as always. Go to our Instagram, see the post, and you'll be able to make one yourselves. But the big announcement, Chain Out Podcast is going to be going to a remote location on November the 20th
Dun, 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 dun.
to Cold Garden Brewery.
In Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah. We
Blake?
spoke to Blake down at Falcon's Flight,
Yep.
and we'd mentioned that we tried to organize a location. We were still looking for the right place. He's been on the podcast before. Obviously, he's a great supporter of disc golf in Alberta. And we just said, you know what? If you got the space down there, let us come down and record an episode.
And he said yes.
And he said, yeah, he's
So,
100% in. He was
totally.
all on board.
Right from the start. There was no question. As soon as we said, this is what we're thinking, he said, if you guys can get down here, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And I was down there, Darryl.
Do you know what? We've got a name for it.
What do we got a name for it?
Chain Out and About.
Chain Out and About.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
I was Thanksgiving weekend. I was down in Calgary, and I went out to Cold Garden Beverage Company for the first time. And I was kind of doing some exploring because you get out to some of these breweries, and they're a little bit more microbreweries and niche, and they have a tap room, but it's more of a tap closet or that kind of thing because they're working on the beer, right?
Yeah.
And they'll eventually expand.
They have a little tasting section and maybe some chairs at a bar sort of thing, but
Yeah,
not some tables.
but not Cold Garden.
No, not Cold Garden.
Cold Garden is huge. They've got this huge outdoor area. We probably won't be taking advantage of that, but who knows?
Yeah,
We've had better.
Never know.
Never know. But they've got all these unique couches and like these huge, like a disco ball with all the glass on the sides.
Yeah, yeah.
They've got these sculptures that are huge, like the size of a couch, hanging from the ceiling with chains, and they're just sparkling. It's
Wow.
going to be awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say, Blake Belding, of course, is going to show up on the show.
He'll be there.
But, shout out now to maybe Taylor Jeffels.
We're putting the invitation out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicest man in disc golf, Alex Penny.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Friend of the show, Joe Henderson is from Calgary. She
could
might
come out.
stop by. Yeah.
what about Amber and Kyle Chasen? Maybe they might want to come out. Amber's never been on the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jody Rooney
Yeah.
is also from
She's
that area.
a first winner of the FPO this year.
Exactly.
Mhm. And of course there's Kai Sotnikow, but
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to that one.
They let dogs in. You can bring your dogs in to have beer.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying that he maybe because he's under 18.
Oh, because you're under 18, maybe he could.
he can still get
come
in. Maybe I don't know what the rules are there.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules.
maybe
Well, Tim
a
can come.
restaurant?
His dad can come for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think the
you go.
age thing might be there. But yes,
That's
definitely
the big
join
news.
us. That's the
Cold
excitement.
Garden, November 20th. If you're in Calgary, if you know anybody, let them know. I don't know. Maybe we'll speak to Blake, and I don't know where we're going to be. I haven't been there. You've been there.
Oh, there's so many places
we can set up. Hopefully, we're going to be a good place. So what we said is we need power and Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And a table.
And I think what we'll do is
good.
we'll have some guests that we'll have scheduled to be on the show, but as well, anybody who's down there, if they want to do a quick poke in and, put their head in and say something, we can do that as well. I think we just want to have a good time and see what it's like to bring Chain out on the road. Yeah. Chain out and about. I love it.
Chain, and Tim's just full of questions. Do you pronounce it? The big question. Do you pronounce it Calgary or Calgary?
I say Calgary.
Calgary.
I got Gary, like the guy's name.
You got the Gary?
Like Cal and Gary. They've got a barbecue sauce down there named after that.
Calgary.
Yeah.
Calgary.
That could be. You've got a lot of little, inflections with
bit of nuances
with the English accent.
Exactly.
There you go. Why don't we start with the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why?
The why is the big question that I ask myself every week, Jeremy.
What did you get yourself into? Is that
why
the what?
do I do this?
So people would probably say, if we were saying who are we, people would say, you guys are two best friends that have known each other for years, right? Like you guys were in kindergarten together. You've done you've hung out. You've gone to proms with your double dates and stuff like that. That's what happened, right, Darryl?
Yeah, something like that. No, not. We've mentioned this before on the first Ask Me Anything, but for any of our new listeners and new subscribers, the story of how we met was, going back to a bit of a throwback to, you can't see it, but Gander Disc Golf.
Yes, yeah.
Had a anytime flight league on a Friday, I believe it was.
That's right. It was
a Monday.
It was Thursday.
Was it Thursdays?
Yeah, it was Thursday.
Right.
I don't know. Somebody will correct us, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, anytime flight league. And I was out there playing and didn't think, had no real friends in disc golf at the time.
Is this like a sad after school story?
Right? Yeah. There was this guy in front of me playing slow, so I caught up to him and he said, hey, do you want to finish the rest of the round? So we played, I think, from 10 or 11 onwards to the end of the round.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to the 18th, and I was like, this guy's pretty okay. I'm like, hey, can I give you my number? And if you ever want to go for a round again, because,
meeting a strange man in a park who wants to give you his number, totally up Jeremy's alley.
Totally normal. Who likes to play with discs.
Yeah, there you go.
And I gave you my number, and then actually we scheduled to go meet up for the following Monday.
That's right. And then after that, we started planning a tournament together. You found out I was playing tournaments that year.
Well, you convinced me to play tournaments. You said, am I playing any tournaments? And I'm like, I just started. Like, I'm not that good. And you're like, oh, you should definitely do Battle 6. Yeah. There's room. Sign up for it.
Well, and I don't even think you were sold on that. But what had happened was I was going into the Edmonton Open, and I was still quite a developing disc golfer, which I always will be. But Darryl offered, he was volunteering, he offered to caddy for me. So then he did caddy for me. And when he saw me take a 9 on hole 11, I think it was.
Hole 11.
Then you realized, I can play tournaments.
Yeah. So then, so for those who don't know, Battle 6 last year was in Wetaskiwin.
Yep.
And we went with our buddy Mark. We went down there a few times to do some practice rounds.
That's right.
And that's where you pulled me aside and said,
in a whisper,
I think it was because you knew that I had done DJ disc golf at that point. So I was in the YouTube space. I had a channel. I kind of was in social media.
Yes.
And you had said, what do you think about doing a podcast?
From a guy who did some volleyball commentating and just loves to talk, and thought, hey, this is a guy who might have some skill set to add to this crazy idea.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And that was it. That was where the idea was born. And so many iterations. And here we are.
Well, and we could say a little bit about what it was too, is it just started off really, right, as that shared interest of us. We both like disc golf. Yeah. And we wanted to see if anybody would listen to two 40-year-old amateur disc golfers try to talk and kind of explore our journey as we're learning more about disc golf. And boy, have we learned a lot about disc golf.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, way more.
And where are we? I don't know if we want to give anybody our exact pinpoint whereabouts on a Google map or anything, but we say we're from Edmonton.
Yeah.
But if our cities found out we said we were from Edmonton, I don't know what they would think about that. But
we're outlying.
Yeah, we're outlying, and probably about as far away from each other as we possibly could be in the Edmonton area. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
When did this thing start? Like we talked about when the idea of it started, But
Well-
I don't know if people really know much about episode 1.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Episode 1 is a bit of a misnomer because when was the original episode 1? There was the original episode 1 when we first sat down,
Yes.
and I think we were using Zoom.
I was
or
using
Skype.
my phone we use Skype, I think. You're
Skype,
right.
I think
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, we used Skype, and we just
You'd think
sat
we
down.
did this like 10 years ago, starting with Skype.
Yeah, we tried it. We did an episode. We didn't really know. We didn't have any script, or I don't think we just kind of
no.
free.
If you see that one, that's the one. Well, I'm sitting in the bedroom, in my bedroom, right?
Right.
And I've got
Nobody's gonna see that one, by the way.
Yeah.
It might get released at some point in the future, maybe when we hit a certain number of subscribers
or something, but I'm
Yeah.
definitely reading off the script more so than it looks like I am now. Be like, "Hi, welcome to Chain Out Podcast. We're gonna."
Yeah, we were definitely trying to put on podcast voice, and
Yeah. So there's probably about 3 or 4 episode 1s that are out there, and then the one that we actually released to the public. So I think we started recording, I guess I would say,
yeah.
what, late August, early September of 2023.
Yeah, it would have been because we
It was still kind of summer.
it was kind of funny that when we were in that beginning stages, we said, let's get 5 episodes in the can, so that we can release them so that somebody doesn't just watch one episode and then disappear and not watch us again. If we have a couple of episodes that they can watch back to back and it kind of gets them into the feel of it and they'll be waiting for the next one.
And they can maybe either in that time learn to love us or realize I don't want any more of this.
Yeah. So August through October.
was when we started recording.
Yeah.
But then the first time we released an episode was November 28th, 2023.
Yeah.
And that wasn't 50 weeks ago. And like you said, we had 5 in the can. So we put those out in rapid succession.
Yeah.
Now the why. Now what's the real why? Why did we do this? I want to interview you actually. So Darryl, why did you get into podcasting?
I had nothing else to do. No, it's just because we both love disc golf. We both love disc golf and Canadian disc golf. And we just wanted to know more about Canadian disc golf. And we wanted to make sure that everybody else knew about Canadian disc golf. We just wanted to spread the word.
Yeah, and that was the thing, is that we knew that there were some Canadians on a disc golf pro tour, but if you listened to, at the time, was Nick and Matt or Tour Life or
Smashbox.
Grip Locked and all of that, it would
yeah.
tend to be tons of American content. And we said, let's get some more Canadian content out there. There were some people playing in the field, and we thought there was some room for one more podcast, and apparently there was.
Apparently there was.
Yeah. So we did have a question.
We have a few questions from Instagram.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and put them in the mix as we go. But we did get a question from Greg. And we thank Greg for the question. He asked, how long did we talk about making the podcast before we took the leap to do it?
Yeah, I'm going to say it couldn't have been long.
No, I don't think it was. I think
Maybe
I'm
it
easily
was
convinced.
2-3 weeks. But I think the one thing that what I've learned with the two of us working together, and we've mentioned it on the podcast a few times, is that I'm, as much as you can see my personality's pretty wild and stuff, I tend to be very methodical about the way I think about things. Is that fair to say? Is that the right word?
Pretty methodical. It's only been a year in the making and we're going to Cold Garden.
Yeah, that's right. Whereas Darryl is very, hey, he's got an idea. Let's just jump and run and do it, and let's see what happens. And it'll usually turn out good because we're always going to give what we can to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just,
And I think-
we're going to try some different things this year as a result of that. So.
I think my personality is more, let's try it, do it, learn from your mistakes. And then you'll get better and better.
And I'm like, here's the business plan, and I've talked to the bank, and
Here's everything that could go wrong. Here's the fixes. We're going to eliminate this. We're going to eliminate that. And this is what the final,
yeah. And then all of a sudden we'll just go live on Instagram and see what happens.
Exactly.
So that was it. So Greg, thanks for the question.
It wasn't long,
was maybe
is
2
the
weeks,
answer.
3 weeks, and then we did that first episode. So guys, I've done a little deep dive. If this gets too boring and you want us to move on, you can tell us in the chat there. But we're going to give you some chain out stats, and we want you guys to give us some guesses.
We're going to have some interaction here. I'm going to try.
Okay.
We're going to put out the question, and then I'm going to give you. Well, we're not even going to give you ABC. We just want people to shout out the answer.
That's right. That's right. So what we've got here is we want to know what is the number of unique guests we've had on Chain Out Podcast in our first 50 episodes. Well, actually, since the beginning of time, or the beginning of it. So you guys can put your answers in there, put your guests there.
How many unique guests have we had?
And not just the 50 episodes. This includes the fantasy episodes.
So there's been 10 fantasy episodes.
Yeah.
All 50 episodes of the Chain Out Podcast. We've had multiple guests on.
This doesn't include, though, say an Instagram Live or something like that where we might have had Kevin Topping or someone join us there. We're talking about on the YouTube channel in our videos.
Yeah.
Got
We
any
have
guess?
we have our first guess in.
Okay, what is it?
Brock Shoshedi says 47.
47. You know, you would think that's
Yeah.
that's a good guess, but what you've got to remember is we did a number of recap shows of tournaments.
Tim said 32. Brendan said 67.
Oh, Brendan's getting real
closer,
close.
yeah.
And what that was we had a number where we had 3 guests on at a time. When we did the juniors episodes, we didn't want to have to grill them for 90 minutes. We didn't know if they could handle that. So,
Yeah.
But the right answer is
62.
62 guests.
62 guests. In
62 unique people we've
Yeah.
spoken to.
That's crazy.
It's amazing. Really, it is. All right. Here's the next one. What is the number of YouTube videos that we've had up on the channel there?
And that's including shorts?
That includes shorts. That's not just the videos that we've done. That's all of the shorts, everything. How many we've gotten. That's an easy number to find, actually, if somebody wanted to.
If they want to do it quickly.
If they want to do a quick cheat and just get the bing,
50
bing, bing.
episodes. Jeremy normally puts out 3 shorts per episode. We normally have
We had a teaser.
and a reveal. We haven't done those so much recently, but that's just a platform issue. There's been things like that. So
What do we got?
62. No one's guessed yet.
62.
No,
62 videos.
I was
for
going to say 62 unique guests.
Yeah. I think I've
83?
83. You got to go way
Gotta
up.
go way higher.
Way up.
Well, no, wait, but at least double.
Yeah. More than double.
At least triple.
Almost.
Yeah. 90, says Kristen. Got to go
How
up.
about 277?
277 videos and shorts.
Yeah, it's almost 1 per subscriber because we're sitting at, last time we checked, and I don't think we have to have a guess on that, but
No.
we're at 283 subscribers. And thank you, everybody, for being part of that and helping us make that happen.
Dylan said 91. Brock went 2025.
There you go. Now, here's one, and I don't know if we'll give a hint for this, but who has been on the show the most times?
Yeah.
Because we've had some guests who have come back for multiple episodes. Who's been on the show the most times? Here's the hint.
Hang on. Let's just see if we get a guess first.
Oh, they're going to guess. How can you not
Who's
guess?
been on-
Anybody who watches the show
Yeah.
knows who's been on this show more than anybody else.
Who might be? Hey, Death Putt Disc Dice is watching.
Well, welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
And MH Disc Golf.
sweet. So, who is it?
It says, well,
That person
nobody's
happens
guessing
to
yet.
be in the chat, or at least was at one point.
They are in the chat. Thomas. Somebody said Thomas. He's been on 3 times.
Yeah, Thomas has been on 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says 283 on my YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
Dylan. Ding,
Yes,
ding, ding.
ding, ding, ding. El Presidente of the Edmonton Disc Golf Association.
Yeah.
Known
How
as
many
Edgar.
times do you think Tim has been on the show, Dylan? This really surprised me.
I know you were surprised. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at, we said, okay, well, we did an interview with Tim, and we could do this as people are thinking about it.
Yeah.
We did an interview with Tim. Then we did the Tundra Toss recap with Tim.
We did, yeah.
Then Tim decided he wanted to be on the show.
Tim told us he was being on the show.
That's right. And he did the league announcements. That was awesome, Tim. We appreciate that.
Yep.
And then what else did we do?
Then we did the fantasy
Oh, the fantasy picks,
fantasy pick. So the first ever episode,
Yeah.
we said, Tim, there's only one guest we would like to have for the first ever episode. Would you do it with us? And we're so glad he did, because he set us up. He set the bar really high of how to run our fantasy episodes.
Oh, yeah. He knows how to do a fantasy picks. We've talked about that a number of times.
Tim said he's still waiting on his royalty checks.
So are we, Tim. So are we.
Yeah, they're in the mail.
And with that, then the other time is when we did the Nationals and the RIP, that we had to bring them back.
We had a double episode for the fantasy, so we had to bring them back. So
that math is actually 5, but maybe it was 5 times, Darryl.
his interview, Tundra Toss, the announcement. Okay, 5. Okay,
Oh, yeah. There you go.
5 times, Tim, not 6. We had you down as 6, but 5 times you've been on the podcast.
Well, I think this is a great time. Was Tim and Kristen were so kind to send us a video, and we're going to play some of these and mix them in. So here's the first one.
Happy 50th episode, Chain Out Podcast. Woo! Wow, 50 episodes. What a year.
Congratulations, Chain Out. We're sending a quick message in because we wanted to share our favorite memories of Chain Out. Mine is certainly the early days, and there was a little throwback this week on social media to it when Jeremy used to show up dressed up or in disguise or in costume, and Darryl would just have a giggle fit. And I really love all of the just sort of the laughter that came so real and authentically.
And my favorite memories and moments are definitely when we get into the chat and you can see Darryl reading the chats when they're funny or when there's something interesting, and he puts it on the screen and we all have a good laugh about it. I love those little moments where you can see Darryl just reading it really quickly and musing about it. But yeah, incredible content, incredible production, 50 episodes, amazing, just amazing.
Keep it rolling. Can't wait to tune in for this 50th and see many more to come.
And hopefully your putts stay in, and hopefully they don't chain out.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To you, Kristen.
Thank you for that.
And
sending that
Tim,
one
thank
in.
you.
Now with that too, as we're going to start to get into the videos that we've recorded, we have a number of views. A lot of people have checked out our videos. I kind of wanted to break down, I was going to say the top 5, but it's going to be the top 6 because we have a tie in one of these positions.
Yeah.
So who do you think was our 6th most, how do I say it?
The sixth most popular?
Most watched video.
Not popular, watched.
Yeah. With 202 views.
202 views. Who is the 6th most popular video that we have on our channel? It's a solo guest.
Yeah.
We'll give you that.
And you're going to see a theme here once we get this first guest. You might be able to pick out a theme. This was our first guest from Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this guest was a pro, or is a pro.
Is a pro.
Definitely.
Is an FPO.
Yes, an FPO for pro. Taught us about when you get to the first hole of a course at a tournament and it's very difficult and you throw poorly. Did that person help us with that? I think so. I think we talked about that a number of times, but this person definitely talked about kind of staying in a game and how to not have a nemesis hole.
The nemesis hole was definitely Colleen McInnes.
Yes, that is correct. 202
views for Colleen McInnes.
In
episode 20.
Episode 20.
Yeah.
And speaking of Colleen, I got to meet her in person at Nationals for the first time. And it was like we had been friends forever. It was one of those moments where you see each other and it's immediately you've got smiles on your face, giving a big hug.
Yeah.
I got a chance too. She needed to get up to Wells Gray to go catch up with Chris because he was playing up there.
Yeah.
And I ended up giving her a ride up the mountain, which here's the thing. If you guys have been to Clearwater before, she said, "Hey, Jeremy, I'm trying to head up to Wells Gray. Did you want to go up there too?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to go up there, but I could drop you off." And she's like, "Well, it's pretty far." And I'm like, "Well, maybe that's an Ontario thing for her." Because I had saw a sign that said 10 kilometers to Wells Gray. So I was like, yeah, no big deal. 10 kilometers to Wells Gray.
Whatever.
So I drive 10 kilometers to Wells Gray Park, entrance to the park sign. And then another 30 minutes up the mountain through all the weather and dropped her off. But it was great. We had a great chance to talk and really got to know her. And one of the nice things that her and Brooklyn Okrafka did was they just actually had a tournament over the weekend.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a Halloween themed tournament. And while they were there, they did a video for us.
Congratulations on your 50th episode!
I'm so proud of you guys, and I'm glad that I could have been on your podcast.
Next time you guys come to Ontario, probably for Nationals, we want to do a doubles challenge with you.
What? A doubles challenge with us?
A doubles challenge against a multiple FPO winner.
Yes. One of Canada's best FPOs.
Yeah. An up-and-coming FJ15 superstar who's been on the show before. We had Brooklyn on our Eastern Canadian Junior episode.
Yeah.
And they want to challenge us.
Yeah. I'm going to ask, how many mulligans do we get for this one?
How many stroke lead?
I don't know, but...
Yeah. Well, but if we do get out to the East, if we do get out to Ontario, like you said, probably for Nationals.
Yes.
That's where I'm penciling in. It's almost in pen at the moment.
I think so.
We'll definitely
definitely
I would
play
love
doubles
to play
with you.
Doubles. Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be the most fun I've had getting beat at disc golf. I'll tell you that much. So maybe they could play worst disc and we could play best disc.
Yeah,
that would be even out. Yeah.
Will it?
I don't know. Probably not. So, okay, second most watched episode of
Nope.
Chain Out. No? I mean, fifth, I guess.
Yeah, fifth most watched.
Fifth most watched. We give you a hint. What are we going to give them a hint? 215 times it was viewed.
215 times.
Yeah.
Another FPO guest.
Yeah, an FPO guest from closer to home. Somebody that everybody watching, at least if they're in the Edmonton area, will know. Definitely a lot of people from Western Canada.
Yeah. It was episode 15.
If anybody who challenges my energy, it would be this person.
Exactly. This person, you're never going to, I mean, I shouldn't say you're never going to catch this person on an off day because, you know, recently this person posted that, you know, people can have these exteriors of think everything is going on, but we never know what everybody's going on in behind. So just because this person exudes confidence and, you know,
Yeah.
energy, just be aware.
So that person was?
We got it in the chat.
We got it in the chat?
Got to be Nationals recap with Sophia.
No, it
No,
wasn't
it was
that.
not. Brock got it. And
Brock
Kristen got it.
And Kristen? Yes, it was Terry Hong.
Terry Heiserbaum Hong.
Yeah. So then let's just kind of whip through a couple more of these.
Sure.
So in third, or I guess, let me go. Fourth place, 216 views. This one was an interesting one to me because this wasn't an interview. This was a piece of content that we put out there in advance of River City Cup. And it was the Rundle Park walkthrough. And that was the first time we did a walkthrough of a course. And we tried to do it from an amateur's
point of view.
viewpoint. And we appreciate everybody watching that one. We thought that was one of those things that could hopefully stand on the internet. And anytime someone's coming to town and wants to play Rundle or has never played before, hopefully it would give them a little bit of help. And
what we did is we searched YouTube or searched the internet for Rundle Park walkthrough, and there wasn't anything.
No, there were some rounds played, right?
Yeah.
But not a walkthrough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that was number 4.
yeah,
No, 3.
That
Look at
was-
my math here.
that was number 3, tied for second
Okay, yes.
with 219 views. We have 2 videos.
Yes.
One is a solo person.
Yep.
The other one was when we did a joint episode.
That's right. With a recurring guest. One of the guests came
Yeah.
on for the second time to
Yeah.
talk about a tournament.
Yeah.
So one was episode 17.
Episode 17.
The other was episode 23.
Yeah. 23 was the double.
Yeah. And the double was none other than Andrea Michaud and Kristen Swirls.
Kristen Swirls.
And then the standalone episode 17.
Was another Edmonton FPO player.
See the theme here?
See the theme, and these are all early episodes as well. And that was Zoe Lorenz-Bozer.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was, you know what was, I remember from Zoe Lorenz-Bozer's episode, or Zoe's episode,
Yeah.
was the ace hug.
That's-
And I think the ace hug, if I remember right, is still with one of our listeners, Jana Olson.
Unless she's
She's aced, and I don't know. She would have posted.
She would have passed it, yeah.
Yeah. So that's that ace hug's out there, Jana.
So-
Come on, let's get that done.
Let me just say here. So out of the top 6 episodes, we're at joint second right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Colleen McInnes, episode 20.
FPO Canadian player.
Terry Hong,
FPO Canadian player.
Arundel Park walkthrough. We've got Andrea Michaud.
Andrea Michaud, amazing supporter of women's disc golf, organizing tournaments, working with PDJ, driving everywhere.
Kristen Swirls.
FPO.
Zoe Lorenz-Bozer.
FPO.
Are you noticing a theme with our top viewed videos?
Yeah. So when next time I say, "Hey, I've got another FPO player for us," you're going to be like, "Perfect."
Let's drive up those viewers. No, absolutely. We've just enjoyed. I mean, we're all about promoting Canadian disc golf, but that's one little niche part of our podcast that we've enjoyed is just elevating the women's game, and hopefully we have. I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if we're elevating, but hopefully we're bringing some attention to it.
There
right?
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the same thing with the juniors and any of the other divisions as well, where we can. But let's get to the top viewed video.
Yes,
Now, this one here surprised me.
it did to me as well.
This has 232 views so far, and you would think this had to be episode 1, right, Darryl?
Episode 20, episode 15, episode 23, episode 17. It's got to be one of the early ones.
It's not.
It's not.
No. This episode is like 3 episodes old.
Can you guess what it is? So 3 or 4 episodes old. I think it was episode 47. I mean, if you're just new to our subscribers and you watch the last few episodes, this one should be pretty clear.
And here's the thing about this one that I want to say.
I just want to interrupt you. Mm-hmm. Jana's still got the ace hug.
She's still got the ace hug. Awesome,
still
Jana.
got
Well,
it.
let's get out. I hope you're coming out to the space race on the weekend, and there's going to be 32 32 times 2. You're going to have 64 opportunities to ace. So I'm rooting for you. And I'll be standing right beside you waiting for the ace hug when you get it.
Says the guy that just got his third ace just recently. But anyway, let's
Yeah.
get back to the number one viewed video.
Number one viewed video. And here's the thing about this one, which is funny, is that Darryl and I have been typical Westerners, and we call anything east of Manitoba Eastern Canada. Mark Thompson very quickly corrected us to tell us that no, guys, Eastern Canada is the Maritimes.
Yeah, it goes a little bit further.
It goes
east.
a little bit further.
Yeah.
So then the first time we did an episode out east,
Yeah.
and we should have been out there, I guess, from the beginning, Darryl, because our most popular episode was the Discmania Open recap.
Yeah. Discmania Open, episode 47, a recent episode, 232 views.
Yeah. We had Dylan Gowdy on the show. We had Rose Shurtick,
We had Ben and Luke.
Ben and Luke as well. And
Yeah,
that
TVs.
sounded like a great tournament out there. And we learned a lot about Eastern Maritime, kind of even into that American East Coast
Yeah.
disc golf. And we also learned about Pat the Patat. So
Yeah. 94 registrations for the space race so far.
oh, that is great.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah. We'll want to breeze through a few of these.
Yeah. I think people are going to get bogged down in numbers. So let's go.
All right. Okay, I want to get to one though. Okay, we'll just say, okay, first of all, I want to say all the views on our channel. How many times has someone gone and viewed our channel? There's been almost 50,000 views.
Isn't that a coincidence? We're at episode 50.
And there's almost 50,000
And we're at
views.
49,935. So 65 more views, and we'll get to 50,000 on episode 50. So let's make that happen.
And now this is where I want to get to. And as Darryl said, I did take over the shorts at some point. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to contribute. That's really what I wanted to do. Is Darryl was doing all of the editing. He was pouring himself over the episodes, trying to get them cut, trying to zoom in, do all of these things, and trying to put the shorts together. And it turns out that our most viewed short had 856 views on YouTube. We've had some with a lot more on TikTok or Instagram, that kind of thing. But on YouTube, 856 views. It was one Darryl did, and we were looking at it, and we were trying to think of, did we capture lightning in a bottle?
Yeah.
How could we possibly get so many views on this one short and not get one on other ones? And now, Darryl, my mind sometimes thinks about every option. As I said, I'm very analytical.
Yeah.
And I asked Darryl if maybe he was doing some clickbait on this one.
There was no clickbait. It was a genuine title of the video, of the short.
Do you want to explain why you named it that before you tell them the name?
Yeah, absolutely. So the short was from an episode with Mark Thompson. We were talking about beginning disc golf, and I said that the first time that I played Rundle Park, I had U-disc, but I didn't really see where I was going. I think it was in the snow, and I was on hole 7 playing up, and I seen a basket, so that was the basket that I was playing to. So actually what I found out afterwards, that I was playing from hole 7 to hole 10's basket. So if you were going to make a short about playing from the wrong tee pad to the wrong basket,
Yeah.
doesn't it come naturally to think that you would title the video with the most views, Darryl confuses the holes at Rundle Park? Nothing further needs to be said on that.
Nothing further. Yeah, it was interesting thing.
We don't know if that's the reason why that video had the most views, but
Moving right along.
So
watch time hours. Let's talk about that. How many hours have people watched our YouTube? And that's been over 2,000 hours.
yeah.
And that over 2,000 hours works out to one person watching everything that they've watched on
Yeah.
our channel for 84 days. So that's an interesting thing there.
Yeah. Most views on our channel come from the US
Yep. But the most hours
Hours?
watched.
or from Canada.
Yeah. So I think we've probably buried people in stats.
Exactly.
If you want
People
more.
don't want to hear no more numbers.
No. So why don't we go to some memorable moments that we've had over these 50
do it.
episodes? So we've had some of our favorite stuff going on,
Yeah.
and we've had, where were we going to go with this one? We were going to talk about this guest, weren't we?
We were.
Yeah. And I was going to say early on when we started the podcast, we were very intimidated every time we did do an interview.
Yeah.
Like we were very nervous. Even Mark Thompson being our first guest, being a really close friend of ours. I was in Calgary at the time broadcasting from my sister-in-law's place.
Yeah.
And just nervous. And we had Kristen on, and that was the thing. And we had Joe Henderson on, and that was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She's got this huge media presence. She works with Paige Pierce. So nervous.
Yeah.
And then we got to have one of the most influential Canadian TDs who's been playing disc golf forever, doing everything she can for women's disc golf. It was so much so that we got her on, and we couldn't end the episode. It almost felt like we went on. That's probably our longest episode for
Yeah,
statistics.
absolutely. It's almost 3-hour long episode.
So we've had Carrie Neal on, and we've brought her on again. She's an amazing person, and she actually sent us a video as well.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys. 50 episodes. Unreal. I want to say my favorite part of the Chain Out podcast is how you're involving tournament directors from across Canada, having interviews with them, talking to them about what they do to make their event successful, their passion, and then interviewing the MPO and FPO winners. You are two guys that only started disc golfing a couple years ago, but you're bringing our country together and creating a bigger community and letting us all get to know each other via your interviews. I appreciate it. I love it. I love you guys. Keep it up. Can't wait for the next 50. Bye.
Oh, that's like high praise coming from Carrie.
Yeah. It's so amazing that we get these people to send us these videos. And I don't know, maybe I'm just...
Like, we asked for videos, and we just wanted to make sure to have interaction with our guests on the show.
Yeah.
That type of thing. We weren't asking for someone just to pump our tires.
Right. I was just expecting hey guys, congrats on 50 episodes.
Mm-hmm. And then we get something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Carrie, thank you so much. We appreciate
really
that
appreciate
you
it.
feel that way about what we're doing. It just makes us want to get to the next 50.
Yeah. I mean, this 50 has gone by so fast. Before we know it, we'll be knocking on their doors again saying, hey, 100 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wanted to take a break here for a second and let's go over to our Instagram.
Yes.
Because we did put out on Instagram asking people to submit their questions for tonight. We
Right.
got quite a few responses. Let's go with a question from... Why don't we go for a question from Carrie?
Oh, okay.
Carrie submitted a question. She said, who is your ultimate bucket list guest?
Oh, ultimate bucket list guest.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a chance to think about this one beforehand. I know the questions were asked earlier. Did you think about this one at all?
I did. And it's kind of hard because we're a Canadian podcast. So really we should be saying Canadian guests. Like who's our bucket list Canadian that we could get on?
Yeah.
But when you think about bucket list, you think about someone that's maybe unattainable or, someone that would just be like your favorite person in disc golf, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would think I would have to say, I mean, there's a few people that I would think it would probably have to be Simon Lizotte. I mean, I would love to interview Jeremy Colling as well. I think he would be a great guest.
A great guest, yeah.
I do like Paul Ulibarri. I like his attitude and I like his dry sense of humor. So I think he would be a good guest. I think he's got a lot of disc golf insight, so he'd be a great guest to have on. I mean, and who wouldn't want to talk to Nate Sexton as well?
Oh, yeah, Nate Sexton, of course, too. Yeah, that would be great. Well, those are good ones, and I think I've got a couple ideas.
Oh,
go ahead.
And Jen Allen. I would like to
Yes.
speak to Jen Allen as well. She's
been on your list for a while. We've interacted with her a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what I would say, Darryl, is a couple of guests that I have. I'll stick to one female guest and one male guest. And on the female side, we talked about it when Canadian Nationals happened this year and Sophia was able to win. Mm-hmm. And we talked about a person how it was a lot of non-Canadian women who had won Nationals for the past years. And the person who had won previous to that was Elaine King. Right. So that's a huge Canadian FPO name. Yeah. And having Elaine King on would be great. And then, of course, I think if we were going to say anyone else in my mind might be the champ himself. If we could get Ken Climo.
Well, okay. Yeah, if we're going old
if we're
school.
talking bucket list.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be a good one too. So that's a great question. Thanks for that, Carrie.
Yeah.
We also kind of went out and we asked about, favorite episodes and that type of thing there. And when we did that, we asked our guests, and some of our guests, we got a ton of emails. So we don't have videos for everybody, but one of the people who emailed us was Casey Hannemeyer, and he had, congratulated us on our 50th episode. And he had said one of his favorite moments was kind of a surprise moment for him. And that was where Darryl and I saw a video of his, and we thought something happened.
Yeah, we thought it was all connected.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, because you put it out on your social media, there's a shot of you. I don't know how far it was, probably 40 feet. You threw it at the basket. You missed. It fell out. The camera pans back to you. And then you give it one of those.
Yeah.
Was that a nod to Chain Out?
It wasn't, but
We can say it was though, right?
yeah, I can say it was exactly.
Yeah.
No, but
I was like,
it
hey,
was,
that's what Darryl and I
That's
do.
what we do at the end of every episode. So
There you
we're
go.
like, did Casey just shout us out?
No, I didn't know that you guys did that at the end of the episodes, but yeah, we
Yeah.
can use that one for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Keep it in mind for the future.
Yep.
There you go. So the next time you see Casey on the course, if he does chain out, which we hope he doesn't, just flash him one of those, and maybe he'll get a little smirk on the side of his face.
That's right. So we know that Casey doesn't necessarily get to the end of the episode every time.
Exactly. We know Casey's not putting in the secret word.
Yeah, that's right. But, you know, another thing, what else is memorable about the show?
Yeah. What you like to say? Well, I mean, we did ask. I think it was in the last episode.
Yeah.
If we asked our listeners what their favorite parts of the show were. Long time listener from the beginning, person that's always in the chat in the beginning.
Oh, yes. And should I mention about that part? So this longtime person in the chat
Yeah.
has always been in YouTube, and the way our program used to work
Right.
is on YouTube. This person be the first one in the chat, would always start the chat off with a comment, and it was always like this YouTube unique emoji.
Yeah.
And it was it's like a turquoise mer person waving.
Yeah.
So then now what happens is, now that we've got a new program, it brings in the comments from YouTube, but yet it doesn't have the ability to understand what that emoji is and show us the character.
Yeah, it shows us just the text name of the character, and it shows up as turquoise waving person.
Yes. So as soon as we see the words in the comments, turquoise waving person, we don't need to know who it is. We know who it is.
Yeah, exactly. So we asked, and Sonia said that one of her favorite parts of the episode is always desert island discs. Go
Well, you know,
ahead, Jim.
Darryl, I do have to say something. And what that is when you come into disc golf, sometimes it could be a little lonely, and you make sure it's not lonely, because if you came in and nobody talked to you, nobody was approaching you, you'd almost feel like you were on an island all by yourself, even though you were among all these people.
You would
And
think
it kind
so.
of probably
Hey,
brings
so
us into our next
slick
part,
segue.
doesn't it,
He's pretty
Darryl?
good at this, Wally. You got it. Yeah, there you go.
Now it's time.
At the moment, no. I like to sponsor myself. I'm one of my best sponsors I've ever had now. No, at the moment, just Upper Park. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Yeah. Okay, well, that's cool. Well, Darryl, you know, if you had one of those Upper Park bags, you could probably put a lot of things in it. And if you happen to be out on a vacation or something and you got stranded on an island, you'd probably have everything you need in that
You
backpack,
probably would,
eh?
hey, Jeremy? I mean, you're so good at this.
Well, Chad, everybody's loving your comments and your advice, so thanks for sharing that. And you know what, Darryl? I would think that with tips like this, you could take that basket and put it on an island in the middle of nowhere with water surrounding it, and I'd be able to hit it.
I bet you could.
With some practice. But that kind of leads us into maybe the next thing, I would think.
You think? Yeah. Kind of sounds a little bit like this.
We're going to go putter-ish is going to be, the glitch.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the glitch is fun to throw. You know, it's easy to throw. It's fun to throw.
Yeah.
But also, it's very deep dish. So
Right.
I can get some water. You know, I could cast
That's
away
awesome.
Tom Hanks a fire. You know, I made fire.
Yeah.
Whatever he said. I can't remember the quote.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Boil my water in there. Hopefully it doesn't melt. You know, MVP is pretty strong.
Yeah.
And I can drink my water out of that deep dish pizza. So
Dual purpose. I'm liking it.
that's
We love
okay.
it.
So that's
Okay.
the glitch.
Yeah.
And then I've been in love with the fuse ever since I've thrown it. So latitude
Right.
64 fuse. I'm assuming there's trees on this island, so I'm gonna try and
How's your flip?
work my way through some trees and stuff, and that'll just be fun to throw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last would be something like if you've ever heard of the latitude 64 missilin.
Oh,
I have
That's
not.
a new one. Is that an out of production?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. So like we'd have to dig deep for that one, but it's a 14 or 15 speed. So you can imagine how flat and sharp this
Right.
is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to go fishing,
Right.
or I don't
Chopping
know
some
what
wood
kind of
or
animals are there, but I'm gonna need to end something's life with this disc, and it needs to be sharp. So
right.
this, and then just throwing bombs, I guess, with this fast disc in the wood. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's mostly a weapon at that point. You know? If I'm
That's
gonna go
awesome.
to work anyway, I only want like a putter and a mid. You know, that's the most fun. So I'd say those are probably my three.
That was so
That one
awesome.
makes me laugh every time I see it.
I know, it was so awesome to hear his, that was the first guest that we had that actually took the time to think about the dual
Purpose? Yeah.
of the discs and, thinking about surviving on this island as well. And the fact that, he came up with like the missile and he's going to need to end something's life.
Yeah.
That was so funny. But if we want to talk about people that maybe haven't watched our podcast before, I think Brian's a candidate for not knowing exactly the route that we were going with the desert island disc there. But
yeah, I think when we have a guest on, we like to give them just an idea. We don't want to give them 52 questions that we're going to ask them because it's a little free flow. We have a bit of an outline, but we want to kind of have the ability to have this type of chat, right?
Yeah.
So I think we said desert island discs, and he hadn't seen any of our episodes, and
I mean, it's a great answer.
It was one of the best answers. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And the start of that video there was just showing you guys a little bit of Darryl and I. Was like, he's always like, how are we going to get to desert island discs? So I always try to come up with some sort of segue.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of the time we'll have a script and okay, we're going to go this question next. We're going to go this question next. And then Jeremy will just go off on a tangent about putting things in a backpack, and you might need a backpack if you're going to go on a trip. And if you're going on a trip, maybe you're going to a desert island. And okay, there we are. We went around the circle, but we ended up back at desert island disc. So,
well, and one of the things, even at the beginning of that one, why I threw it in there was you knew exactly where I was going. I was leading us along, but we were interviewing with Wally, and Wally's was listening intently because I was talking about, you get lonely in disc golf, and he was just like, yeah, it can happen. And all it was a segue to get to desert island discs is what it was there.
But we've had some fun with desert island discs. We mentioned it. We mentioned that we have played with a friend of the show, Mark Thompson, and I think that was one of the first iterations of a desert island disc tournament that we did, where all three of us went out, and we took our desert island discs. We went to Norwester.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think it was my one and only time of playing at Norwester.
We did that.
Maybe like the Cold Garden Cup remote location idea.
Yeah.
The Desert Island Disc Tournament could be coming soon.
Oh,
we've been talking about it for quite a while. And the way Jeremy likes to beat around the bush with these things and make sure everything's planned out, stay tuned. In the future, there could be a Desert Island Disc Tournament coming.
Yeah. Well, and speaking, what I didn't think about this for Calgary, and I'm throwing this out there live, Darryl's not aware of this one, is that Darryl and I mentioned that we will be staying overnight in Calgary and looking to play around in the morning. Darryl hasn't played at any of the courses there.
Nope.
I've played at DRM, Baker, I've played at a few. So we're going to look to go out that next morning. So if you are down in Calgary, that could be another thing. You could join us on the Wednesday night and be part of the podcast at Cold Garden Cup, and then you could reach out to us, and I'm sure I'd be happy to have people join us for a round. Would you be okay with that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so then maybe we can do that as well. I was going to say maybe we do it with Desert Island Disc, but I don't know if it's your first time on a course. That's probably not the best
I thought
suggestion.
that's where you were going, and then you just went off on your tangent.
And that brings us to some surprise moments that we've had on the show. So I kind of surprised you there.
Exactly.
Look at these segues.
Hey, you're the king of segues.
But yeah, we've had some surprise moments on the show, and one of the most biggest surprise for us as guests was Darryl actually surprised me, and we got a video about that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
So what did you want? Did you want people to watch for something?
Yeah, so when we play this video, I like it so much whenever I watch it back, really watch, like Jeremy had no idea what was going on. I did it all on my private Instagram. You can see the moment as he's listening to the guest, the moment that it clicks in his mind and he puts two and two together and it sinks in who's talking to him. I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
So I reached out to somebody.
Suspense is building, my friend.
It is. So, hey, my name is Darryl and I have a podcast in Canada with my friend Jeremy. We mentioned you in a recent episode, and this is the response I got.
Hi, Darryl and Jeremy. So Max Rujitny actually used to do some commentary on the Gatekeeper channel for the Swedish Disc Golf Pro Tour. And we've met each other like multiple times before, like we're friends, and he should be able to say my name, but he kept butchering it like during the Skåne Open coverage. He was like, Fritjof, like stuttering, trying to pronounce my name. But yeah, the correct way to say it is Fritjof Fagergren.
Fritjof.
It's so awesome that no matter who it is, it can be somebody from Sweden, it can be somebody from Mexico, it can be somebody from
I know
Quebec.
where you're going.
No matter who it is, if this person may have an accent on their name, Jeremy has to say it in that accent.
I don't know what it is, guys. This is just a thing about me, is that I always want to say somebody's name correctly. I sometimes, in that effort, I say it as incorrectly as possible. But it's like, I ask people, I'm like, how do you say your name? I'm like, oh, people call me this. I'm like, no, I don't want to know what people call you. I want to say your name the way it's supposed to be said.
So who did we meet up with at Falcons Flight?
At Falcons Flight, we met up with Miguel Alvarado.
And then who did we recently have on from... We spoke to Karen Martel, but where is she from?
Oh, where's she from?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to... Oh, she was from Victoriaville, Quebec. That one was
really
fine,
much
yeah.
of an accent, yeah.
Yeah, but
And
I'll
then-
try to put a French in there. But you got more?
And then this guest that we just spoke to, who was he?
The guest that we just spoke to was Fritjof Fargegreen.
You can't just say Miguel Alvarado.
Yeah.
Or Fritjof Fargegreen.
Yeah, well, I said it the same way.
Fargegreen.
Fritjof Fargegreen.
You got to have the rolling of the R's.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh.
So that's all right. So
You know
we hope that people enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. And speaking of like the Desert Island disc that we were, about being staples of our show.
Yes.
Another staple of our show that I enjoy, and you always mention to me, you're like, I don't know if we should keep these going.
Yeah,
and I
I'm
say,
never sure.
there's certain things in our show that we have to keep going. One of them being Desert Island discs. But the one that kind of leads the episode, for me, it's the origin story.
And I'm glad that you say that, because for me, the origin story has been something kind of fun, and it takes some work. But I'm like, is it really adding to the value of the show? Desert Island Discs, like we know that does. Like that's just a solid one.
Right.
But the origin story,
I think it does, because like we've said, the reason why we do the origin stories is because we just don't want to say, hey, welcome to the show. Tell us how you got into disc golf. Like, that's just such a boring question. It's such a question that they've probably been asked time and time again, maybe.
yeah.
But the way that we put the spin on it, it kind of sets them at ease. It kind of starts us off on that. Okay, this is the level of conversation that we're going to have. It's going to be a conversation. It's not going to be a question answer interview.
It will be a conversation, and you're right. That is the reason that we do it, because anytime we have a brand new guest on the show, I'm interested to find out how they got into disc golf. Were they a COVID disc golfer? Was their family? Did they happen to go out and go to a tournament and see Paul Macbeth play, and that got them hooked? Like, how did they get in?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it, and it was just so that we didn't ask them straight up and be boring about it.
Yeah.
And I think what's been funny is I started out with superheroes, I guess is how it started.
Yeah, started out with superheroes, and then I think you moved over for some reason. I think you weren't running
I ran
out.
Well, it was tough.
There's quite a few.
All the superheroes were like having very tragic stories with their family, and the worst thing when you don't know somebody is you wouldn't want to say something and it actually hit too close to home.
Yeah,
was what it was.
That's true. Yeah, but then you moved it to, movies. Did you do John Wick?
I did.
Somebody losing a partner and a dog.
And losing a dog. Yeah, I did do that. That's for sure.
But yeah, so the origin story.
Well,
it's a big milestone.
Yeah, that was a big milestone. Do you know when the first origin story was, or what it was?
I was just going to ask you.
Okay,
Let's put it out to the chat.
Yeah.
Does anybody know which episode had the first origin story? And I'll let you know, it wasn't the first interview that we did.
No, it was not Mark Thompson. But what I will tell you is that one of the things that I found funny was it wasn't too long ago here we had a guest on, and when we did the origin story, they said to us, "How many times have you got it right on? Because you did this time." And that was kind of a funny thing. And I don't think we got it that close, but that was with Chance Stad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it Chad Stance?
Not going to let me live that one down, right?
No.
Yeah.
Speaking of pronouncing names.
We do have a correct answer.
Oh, do we?
We do, Mr. Plamondon. Yeah, before you, Brendan. It was Miss K Swirls.
Yes, it was. And it was very, very light origin story. I think I said something along the lines of, how did you get into disc golf? What was your origin story? Maybe did a spider bite you on the hand and you became really good at disc golf or something like that. It was very simple. Now they get way too elaborate sometimes.
But the good answer that Kristen gave, and this goes to show what interaction we have, is that you gave her this Spider-Man origin story, and she said, well, I feel like I need to come up with a superhero answer now
Yes.
to go along with that. So
And you can see if you go back to Kristen's episode, it's very, very early on in the episode. Darryl said when I had done the outline, he's like, I don't know if you want to do these origin stories or not like that, because then they're going to think they have to answer that way. And sure enough, Kristen did. And you can see, just like you saw my surprise face with Freetioff, you'll see Darryl's surprise face when he goes, yeah, told you so.
but now looking back on it, I'm glad you did them.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
So if that was our first time that we did the origin story,
Yeah.
when do you think the first time we did Desert Island Disc was?
Well, for those paying attention, I may have already alluded to it.
Oh, you did? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I did mention about the Desert Island Disc and the fact that we did go out and do a little mini tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that I went out with my 3 discs.
I went out with mine.
And I went out with my Berg, my Cax, I believe it was.
Yeah. Because we said whatever we
wave.
said that day, we had to stick with it. Oh, it was your wave?
Yeah,
Was
it
your
was
other
my
one?
wave.
And then I had my EV7, which I still putt with today.
Yeah.
I had my Hex, which is still a staple in my bag, and then my Musket.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Musket is now in the pond out at Rocky Lane Fairways.
Yeah.
But I do have a replacement musket. So,
and I think Mark chose.
Well, Mark just kept
pure.
wanting to change everything at that point. He's
Exactly.
like, "Can I choose the same disc in a different plastic?"
Yeah, he was. Yeah, we know Mark is quite the competitor.
Yes,
he definitely likes
and
to
negotiator.
practice. And negotiator. Yeah, I think he chose pure, Hex, and musket as well.
Yeah,
I think he did back then. Yeah.
And then I guess other episode milestones, the one that we're celebrating tonight, 50 episodes.
Yep.
But we also did 10 fantasy picks episodes for 11 tournaments. And of course, as everyone knows, if you've watched them, Darryl kicked everybody's butt as Team Shambles.
What do I win?
Oh, I told you a crisp high 5 on the show was what it was. Yeah.
I just want everyone to know that people that didn't watch the fantasy episodes, because they weren't as popular as our live episodes, and maybe it's just because it's live and whatever the reason being.
Yeah.
But if you didn't go and watch them, go back and watch them, even though the tournaments have already finished. You know the answer. You'll know the results. But Team Shambles
won it all.
Lovingly given me the name given to me by Jeremy and our first guest, Mr. Tim Plamondon.
Mm-hmm.
So nicknamed because I was totally unprepared, didn't have enough people picked, didn't have anything in order.
Well, I just got to say, so we were picking like 3 MPOs and 3 FPOs. So what Darryl did was he had 3 MPOs and 3 FPOs on his list.
It sounds so ridiculous.
Because he was going to get exactly the people that he picked, because nobody else would possibly pick his picks. That couldn't happen. So as soon as his first pick, that was probably another realization moment in the show.
I think it was, yeah.
So then it was a matter of scrambling, but it didn't matter.
But it turned out I won the fantasy league. So if you want to go back and watch those, if not, stay tuned, because we'll be doing it again.
Yeah.
We've done it once. We know. Sorry, I got to put it up.
Okay.
Shambles in spirit, shambles in life.
Thanks, Tim.
We're going to be doing a season 2, right?
Yeah, we'll do a season 2.
You need revenge.
I do.
Team Guest needs to step up their game.
They were close, though. Team Guest did a good job.
A couple people took down the win. They took me down. I must have had an off day or something. Must have not been feeling very well. But we'll be coming back with a season 2, bigger and better.
And we'll also have a way. We got to find a way to get the listeners more involved. We did have you guys voting for our teams, but we really would like to find a way to have you guys put in your own team as well. So maybe have a side one. We'll look into that. And maybe, as Darryl says, he didn't get a reward for winning, but maybe we'll have to come up with a punishment for losing. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that's it.
Put it in the chat. What should Jeremy do for losing?
Not this time.
No,
this is done.
Okay.
So that's good there.
But the fantasy episodes were good. We thank everybody for coming on the episodes, and we thank Brendan for sponsoring the fantasy podcast as well.
Yes. Okay.
More on Brendan coming up.
Coming up soon, yeah. And early listeners, there is something else that happened when Darryl and I started out. When it was just the two of us having discussions, we were discussing disc golf, we were doing course reviews, we were just chatting about disc golf and kind of exploring what we were learning about it. And I had a lot of ideas. And Darryl and I were still in that early part of the friendship where you don't really want to hurt somebody's feelings too much, I think, is what it was.
Right.
But some of my ideas were out there, and you kind of came up with something.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about back in the early days when we just used to have discussions. We never had interviews. We were talking about how we can fix one of the hot topics at the time was, do people like seeing somebody win a tournament 35 under par or 40 under par?
Yes.
How can they make it more difficult for disc golfers? And they've talked about Gannon and AB lines, or AB proofing the course, making them longer, but that doesn't seem to work. But one of the ideas that you came up with was the champ cap.
Yeah, like people were talking about changing the baskets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I said, why change the baskets? I said, put the champ cap on them and just make it harder to putt into them.
Yeah.
And then you didn't have to change the baskets. That was my idea. I thought it was like gold. Like I thought I was going to get royalty checks from that.
Yeah. So you put a short together and you just happened to clip that part of me saying that. Friend of the show, Mark Thompson, watched it and put a comment down saying,
Best line
ever. And the line was,
I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
So that was a funny part of the show there. That it was a throwaway line that just happened to stick. It got pointed out. It stuck, and I haven't had a chance to use it recently. But hopefully, going forward into our new model, which we might discuss, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we'll give you more details on our new model. Maybe I'll get a bit more of a chance to tell you you're wrong.
That's right. I think a lot of times what's happened is when we weren't having these conversations just with the two of each other, we ended up talking to guests. And the last thing we want to do is tell the guests that they're wrong. That really doesn't bode well to get them back on the show.
Exactly.
But I think it was episode 2 when you first said it, and it was it was slightly different from that. And then it was happening so often that when you got the sound bites made, that just had to be a sound bite. So you didn't have to keep saying it. You could just.
2 things I just want to bring up here. Mark says, oh, sorry, not this one right here. This question. He still says it's still the best line.
Yeah.
But also, I did want to throw out here that MH Disc Golf said that your punishment should be throw a hole until you ace.
Ooh, that's a good one. Do I get to pick the hole? Well, it has to be an aceable hole.
It's an aceable hole, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be
by
out there
our
all night.
standards. Yeah, you have to stay there with me until I do.
I'm just going to put the
double
camera
punishment.
up and put a battery pack on it and just let it run all night.
Yeah, well, thanks for that suggestion.
You have glow discs?
I do have glow discs and a flashlight. Well,
Yeah.
I need them for next week.
There you go.
Yeah. Now, another thing that happened is I like to talk. I also like to sing. I can't sing worth anything, but that doesn't stop me. So there's been so many times that I've tried to get Darryl to allow me to sing or to sing with me in a opening or in an origin story or something like that. And most of the time it gets shut down.
There's a few that have snuck through.
A
One or
few.
2 lines, but...
Yeah, but there was one time where Darryl said, okay, Jeremy, you can have a song in this episode.
Our guest today is an Alberta FPO player. She is a personal coach with Fit Theorem. She's the captain of BR's 2024 ambassador team. She is one of the most positive and energetic people you will meet, and she likes to go by the title Heiserbomb. Hang on, Darryl.
Why? What's wrong?
It's not going. It's just not working for me.
No?
When we have a guest like this,
Yeah?
I can't just do the standard intro. We got to do something bigger.
You got to go something special?
I think so. Something special. You know what kind of special?
How special?
So special, I think we need a song.
Okay, I hope this isn't going to be a duet.
No, I wouldn't put you on the spot like that. Plus, I think I'm not a good singer, but I've heard you sing, so...
That's a fair point.
All right, are you ready?
Go for
This song is inspired by the great Tom Jones. Here we go. Heiserbomb, Heiserbomb, Heiserbomb hong. Not only can she throw it straight, but she can throw it long. Heiserbomb, Heiserbomb, Heiserbomb hong. It's time to bring her on the show. So Darryl, if you're ready, let's go. What do you think, buddy?
Hey.
You know, I really wanted to do a remix with that one. Maybe get some garage band backing track.
I reached out to Tom. He said he'll call you.
Yeah, Tom Jones will call me.
Yeah.
So that was our one song. I loved it. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I also saw something interesting about that little clip there too that we don't do anymore. But somewhere along the lines, you had said with my intro, my voice changed.
I think it was the microphone. I think you just got a new microphone once. And I said, oh, you're sounding good today, Jeremy. And you were like, This time on the podcast. And I said, you got to do that. That's the deep, dark announcer voice. It has to be a staple. Somehow, somewhere along the lines, you've lost it. I don't remember that.
I don't know what it was. So just for old time's sake, what should I say?
Why don't you tell the listeners the first time that we went live?
The first time that we went live was with Matt Dwyer in episode 21. And that was followed by our live Ask Me episode anything. Ask me. See, that's why I don't do the deep dark. I'm so focused on trying to do the deep dark
You can't
voice.
look down and cover your mic at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for sure. But yeah, that was it. We had our first live episode. That was another surprise to me. I thought we went live like 10 episodes ago or something like that.
Yeah. Surprising that we've actually been live more than we were pre-recorded.
And what can we tell people about going live? What have we learned about that?
Don't do it. No, I mean, it's the same with anything that we do for the podcast. There's so many technical issues.
Yeah.
You know, even when it was pre-recorded, we would cross our fingers that we would have a usable episode at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we spoke about Brendan in the beginning there. We had some issues with Brendan. We've had some issues with
internet connections and things like that.
Other guests that have been remote on some islands playing disc golf while we were talking to them.
We'll get to that.
The quality on the live hasn't always been great, but when it's the guest, there's not a lot we can do. Like, we get to a point now where we have a studio, we have lights, we have a good camera, we have, we've got 2 laptops here, we've got mics, I've got buttons, I've got everything to try and make it go as smoothly as we can.
Mm-hmm.
But if the guest shows up not prepared or, whatever it might be, then we just roll with the punches and go with it. But live has
been better.
You're adding those extra, because if anything goes wrong, it's live. You got to fix it on the fly.
Yeah, we've had some times there where, and I think Brendan actually had said and noticed it might have been with Gabby or one of our other guests there, where it would just seem to be cutting out. But we knew that the post-produced version would have a full video to it. But during the live, we were losing some of the audio of the guest, but we knew they would come back. So Darryl would just nod, and I think, weren't you taking a drink?
Taking a drink. Yeah, Brendan noticed. He's like, I can tell every time the video drops out, Darryl takes a drink.
I think that was the one you had trouble sitting in the chair. It was cutting out so much at the end of the episode. No, that was good. And so with the live, but the nice thing about the live ones for us is that once they're done, they're pretty much done. We can get them out right away and be what they may. And we've also learned how to fill in air and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do a pretty good job of that.
So if you ever want a challenge, try doing a live episode and see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, we've also had an amazing thing. One of us has been in attendance for every single episode of Chain Out. Everyone, you've seen this person's beautiful face. Which one of us is it? That guy.
50 episodes plus 10 fantasy episodes. This person has no life. Does not do anything on a Wednesday or a Thursday or a Tuesday, depending on when we're recording.
Right.
Yeah. I've been here for every episode.
Yeah. And that's good. And it's been awesome. That's another amazing thing, is just thinking about having that same time commitment every single week.
You know what it is. If I'm not here, Jeremy doesn't know which button to push, the one that says live.
If Darryl wasn't there, you'd be seeing Jeremy, as we've talked about before, broadcasting live from his kitchen on an iPhone. That's what you'd get.
Yeah. Cheers, Brendan.
Yeah. And then the other thing, that time that I did not make it to the episode, we had our very first guest host.
We've had a co-host, a supporting co-host.
And an amazing co-host. And that was Gabe Piska.
Yeah. Thanks, Gabe, for standing in for the Western Canadian Junior episode, if you want to go back and watch his contribution to the Chain Out podcast.
Yeah. And he did a great job. One of the things, I got a funny story for Gabe. I got a funny story, 2 funny stories, actually. One that just came to mind.
Okay.
So with Gabe, we had talked about having him on the show for a full interview, and we hadn't done that yet, and we still haven't. So we'll have to look at that maybe for the next season. We have his brother on, and I'm sure that always irks him that Tristan's been on and Gabe hasn't.
Yeah.
But what had happened was we were at Tundra Toss, and we were trying to capture a little bit of the flavor of the tournament there, and we were trying to do some interviews. We actually talked to Briggsy, we talked to Janet Olson, we talked to, do you remember the gentleman's name?
It will come to me.
Joel
Ellard.
Yeah, Joel Ellard. So we talked to those people, but then we also had a moment where we were going to talk to Gabe and kind of have a conversation and do a little bit of a mini interview. And we started that, but with how popular Gabe is, we didn't get 10 seconds or 20 seconds in, and we get interrupted, and then we tried again and we got interrupted, and so
it was just that people weren't aware that there was a camera set up and that you were actually doing an interview at that point. But that, before you get to your second story,
sure,
that was probably the first time that we actually went live, because we set up the cameras there to record the lunchtime and the the after tournament events and the prize giving and things like that. So we actually did the Instagram lives there, but that was just more so showing everybody the experience and what everything about Edgar is all about.
Yeah, that was it. And that was I guess our first time on location, or one of those times. So we've done a lot of Instagram lives on location, but not a episode with all of our equipment and that type of thing. But so the other Gabe story that I've got for you was Darryl and I had a chance to go out and play with one of our great listeners, Sam Western, and then who's heading actually down to Austin, Texas.
He's going down to the NAGGT,
yeah. So Sam squared?
No, it was Sam, but it was also
Kevin?
Devin.
Oh, Devin. So Sam was with us, and then as well, Devin was with us as well in this round. And we're playing, and I was just trying to get some feedback about the podcast. And I said, hey guys, we've done a number of episodes. What were some of your favorite episodes that you've heard so far? And, Sam had mentioned that he really enjoyed hearing Gabby Lee. She just had a lot of really good things to say and that type of thing. And Devin's thinking and pondering and thinking. And then he says, Jeremy, I don't know if you're going to want to hear this, but my favorite episode was the one you weren't on. So Gabe, if we ever need a replacement host, you are definitely got a spot.
Yeah, we've got your number, Gabe.
Devin is your number one fan. Well, Darryl, we were talking. The other thing about that, when we did that one, what episode it was episode 29 that Gabe guest hosted.
Yeah.
And that was our first juniors episode with Gavin Beamish, Kai Sotnikow, and Mason Howard.
Yeah. Mason, while you're dropping Mason's name, Mason has been active on our Instagram, and he dropped a few questions for us. So I'm just going to read those out to you. When you're in the MA40 division, when you have to put your glasses down so you can read. Mason asked, favorite disc.
Favorite disc?
And you can put your favorite disc in the chat as well. I want to hear what everybody's favorite disc is.
Yeah, I always hate singular questions like that. I always want to change them to what is one of my favorite discs.
Don't be a hedge sitter.
All right. Well, if Mark Thompson was with me at Nationals, and I relied on one disc more than anything, and when I got back from Nationals, you and I played around at Rundle, and you didn't think I was the same person.
Yeah, I know. You had one disc dialed in,
and that was the Thought Space Mantra. The one that I threw onto a road and got run over by a car, and it that's its origin story. Somehow it turned into a magic disc. So that would be my favorite disc, is my Mantra.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, if you had to guess what Mark Thompson's favorite disc would be?
Mark Thompson's? I would call it the Hex. Oh, no, not anymore. I would want to say it's the Trail.
The Trail.
Yes. Yeah. After seeing him throw that at Nationals, that would be for sure.
I mean, do I really need to ask you what Tim's favorite disc is?
Tim's favorite disc.
Yeah, Tim Plamondon. I don't know if you know him.
Tim Plamondon, Desert Island discs. What did he pick? He picked a Firefly, right?
A Firefly was one of his discs.
Yeah. What were the other two?
Yeah.
The ones that he's had 30 aces with?
I forget.
I don't know. Whatever it was, it would come
go
to
back
us.
and watch his episode. You'll find out.
You'll get that one figured.
Yeah. Matt Dwyer. Speaking of Matt Dwyer, we said that his was the first time that we went live with Matt.
Yes.
His favorite disc, MVP Resistor.
Oh, that's one of mine as well, too. Yeah. That's my go-to forehand disc. That's the one I just recently got an ace with.
We've had a Hex. We've had a Trail. Kristen Swirls, Streamline Jet.
Yeah.
It's a great disc. Matt Dwyer, MVP Resistor.
There's a lot of
MVP
Gyro-Palooza stuff.
Gyro discs, yeah.
That'll be good for our conversation about which is better.
MH Disc Golf, Exo Soft Link.
Oh, okay.
It's an interesting one. Yeah.
You didn't mention yours, though.
No, I'm getting there. Yeah.
Are you just stalling for time?
Face Blue Smiling from Tim Plamondon.
Can I guess, Darryl, maybe who might manufacture your favorite disc?
I don't know, Jeremy. Could you guess?
Well, I know you have some MVP. You've had that. You've thrown some Latitude.
I did have a saying.
You did. You had a saying that it's always a Berg.
It's always a Berg.
But I think maybe your favorite disc is from the Innova or Innova lineup. Maybe with your jersey you're wearing tonight.
There you go. I'm hoping that if this video gets some traction, that
the sponsors are coming.
I'm putting it out there. Yeah, I don't know. Probably it's going to be, well, if you had to guess, do you know what I throw?
No. I was just waiting for you to say, oh, I don't know. I'm not going to pick one after.
No. I can play along with the rules. If I had to pick one that I throw all the time, for me, I think it's going to be the Firebird's baby brother. I don't know. I'd pick my T-Bird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you do throw that quite a lot.
Got a few T-Birds, and we said earlier about bucket list interview. I recently just got my Jen Allen T-Bird.
Oh, yes.
Proto Glow Jen Allen T-Bird. So, but I am loving the Gorgon and the Racer. The Racer is a great disc for me because it's like a beating
Firebird or
Destroyer.
Gotcha.
Destroyer.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the brand any justice here. One more question from Mason.
Yes.
He says, favorite thing about disc golf?
Well, I think we've mentioned this before, but I've got a few things, but I'll go into one. If I was just giving you a quick, straight, simple answer, it's watching the flight of a disc. I think that's been said a number of times.
Yeah.
Seeing how when you throw that perfect throw and watching it curve through the air and do exactly what you wanted it to do, even though that doesn't happen as often as I'd like, that's one of the favorite things. But if I was really the real favorite thing, and I know this sounds like a framed for podcast answer, but it is the community. It is the amount of welcomingness and camaraderie and everything that we have in disc golf. That has been my thing. The friendship that you and I have with Mark, with all of the people we've talked to, the fact that like I mentioned earlier, Colleen and I can meet for the first time and we're giving each other a big hug because there's just that closeness and that immediate connection in disc golf. So that would be my favorite thing.
Yeah. Sorry, I just seen Kristen's reply.
What was hers?
Mark said that his was a fission, or he was saying like the hex or whatever, and Kristen said, Mark, I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
Good one,
awesome.
Kristen. K-swirls.
No, and I think you're absolutely right about your first answer, because that's what I remember. And when you said it, that's what I remember about watching. When I first started watching disc golf on YouTube, which is where I first knew anything about disc golf. I never picked it up or played it. Even, I think I said to you before that I watched like for 5 or 7 years before I even knew there was anything to do with disc golf in Canada, let alone that we have an association and everything else.
Right.
But the one thing that amazed me was people being able to throw a disc in the woods and shape the shot and not hit a tree.
Yes.
Like, back then I just thought they were Frisbees. I didn't know how they make them go in these different S curves and, all the angles they were throwing. It just amazed me that you can throw something in a heavily wooded area and not hit a tree.
That's right. Just thread those lines.
It's the line. It's the getting the right flight of the disc. So that's what I really love about disc golf.
Nice.
A follow-up question. I know we're going off the script a little bit, Jeremy,
that's okay.
but roll with the punches. Tim's question is, what's your favorite plastic?
Favorite plastic?
Yeah.
Well, that gets
like
pretty
Star,
deep.
Cosmic Neutron, ESP, Lucid.
Throw it out there. Do you have one?
Yeah, I think Star plastic. I used to like Champ. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Star plastic, but I like the iDye discs.
Right. And I think if I'm going to throw it out there, Mark's kind of already said it out there, and I like the Fission plastic from MVP. I just like the way that feels in my hand, and it's usually a lighter disc, which gives me the ability to throw it. But
yeah, I used to like the Champ plastic, but I think it's a little bit too beefy for me, so I like Star plastic.
Well, Darryl, I see that, I'm enjoying this a whole lot, and we got a few more things and videos to show, so I want to kind of get through a bit of that. And we talked about Matt Dwyer.
Yeah.
And Matt had reached out to us in email, congratulated us as well. And he said one of the things that he loved about our show is when we get to talk to people and get to learn more about the history of disc golf. So some of the people and the guests that he noted was Wally O'Volley, Chad Gamlin, talking to these people who have really had a chance. I'm sure Craig Sheether was probably in there, would have been one of his choices as well. Yeah. But another choice was Scott Stokely. And that was a get for us. Scott was planning to come to Canada.
Yeah.
We had that interview with him. Scott is a very busy man.
That is something that I've always tried to hold us to, is we could probably speak to anybody in the States, or I say in the States, any of the
U.S. disc golfers.
Any of the U.S. disc golfers that are on the Pro Tour. We could probably reach out to some of those bigger names to try and get them to come on the podcast just to say that we've interviewed whoever it might be. The times that we have had those names on the podcast, for example, Channel Fry, we had him on the podcast, but it was because
he just won the BC Open.
Yeah, he just won the BC Open. So there was a reason to get him on, and we like to have those reasons. And like you said, Scott was due to come up and play in that BC Open, and he was denied entry, but we still scheduled him to come on anyway.
And the thing with Scott, which was quite funny, was that gentleman is doing everything and anything in disc golf and all at the same time. And one of the things he thought he would do was, record a podcast, be on an island in the middle of Washington Ocean or something like that, and play around a disc golf while he talked to us. And something really cool happened.
Exactly.
Are you sure I should throw? Hold on, I'm going to go ahead and throw quick, and then I'll tell you how I got into disc golf. And check it out. And you're going to see my throwing face. Is it? Yeah! Oh my God! Did you guys see that? Hold on, I'm going to run pull it out of the basket. I'm not kidding. It's unbelievable. There's nobody. This was not a setup. Look at this. You guys see that? I'm going to pull the disc out of the basket. There's only one problem. That's the basket I was shooting at. I just aced the wrong basket. Live on video. That was live on the internet. Yeah! Oh my God! Did you guys see that? You know what's
so awesome that we were able to capture that from two different angles.
Yeah.
The fact, and then that goes back to the program that we used. That we lucky that we had the post. We were able to capture the footage afterwards.
Because it certainly didn't look like that live. I'll tell you that much.
Exactly. But yeah, that was such an amazing thing to capture, and with Scott Stokely playing like you said, playing a round of disc golf while trying to do a podcast with throwing in one hand, phone in the other. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And also, too, that it was on the internet.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, Darryl, where are we at now?
So,
some of our other content.
Some other content that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to branch out on different occasions. Like we said, we've done interviews. We've done we followed final round coverage of events that we've been at when we can get there. We did the final round of the River City Cup for the MPO and the FPO as well. We caught the last few holes of those. And then we did the interview with the MPO and FPO winners, which was kind of a good kind of get because it was... that
was Bailey
and Jace. Yeah.
So we did that. I know when I got out to Nationals, I had the luck of videoing the first throw all 3 days of every FPO player. And I was able to send some of that, and it was some of them were able to post it and use that content. So that was good.
We've done some other short lives as well. For those that follow us on Instagram, you may have known that we've gone live a few times early in the morning, and we used to do our
disc hole dice 3. What was it called?
The 3-hole disc dice challenge, courtesy of Mike Carey.
That's right.
Yeah, Mike Carey printed us out some 3D printed us some disc dice that we used for our 3-hole challenge. Yeah. We enjoyed doing those.
If you like something like that, that's one thing we want to get from you guys too, is if you like any of that content or you have ideas as well, like kind of like that one of throw a hole till we ace. And speaking of that, we did try something like that.
I was just going to say, can you remember when we went to Niska and short hole 4?
Yes.
Is it 4?
3.
3, sorry. We decided we were just going to go live.
Throw some mids.
We were going to throw some mids, maybe 4 or 5 discs, see if we can ace a hole.
Yeah.
While we were on the live...
Some people jumped on.
Some people jumped on, namely Tim Blamondon, Terry Hong,
Kristen,
amongst others. Yeah. told us to empty our bags.
We were like, what? I've got putters and like drivers in here. And they said, just keep throwing them.
Keep
so
throwing.
that's what we did. So we threw 20 something discs and
how many aces did we get?
0. I think we got close. We parked a few, but that was about it.
Yeah. But no, things like that, like little extra things away from the podcast.
Yeah.
We like doing them. Maybe
For
we'll
sure.
do them again. It's so busy during the summer when we're playing in tournaments. We're doing leagues on Thursday nights. You know, I have my Anytime League on Wednesdays. There's a lot more going on. So we'll get back to it at some point.
We will. And we wanted to say, we've talked about you guys, our listeners, and you're all very awesome. You know, we have the people who come in all the time. We have you know, without risking missing anybody's names, throwing a few out there, like, you know, Sam's in there, Brock's in there, Tim's in there, Kristen's in there, Mark will show up. You know, we have so many. I don't know if you want to throw more, but we have a number out there, and all of you are awesome. But we have 2 listeners, and we mentioned one earlier, that tend to watch more episodes than anyone else. And Sonia would be one for sure.
Absolutely. Always first in the chat, like we said.
Yeah.
And she's always first with the secret word.
Yes, she is as well. So she's always there supporting. So shout out to Sonia. Shout out to everybody. Couple there.
Yeah.
But then we have one listener that's been on the show, and we got a chance to meet her when we talked about women's disc golf, CWE events, and Krista Swirls was also on that show, and that was Andrea Michaud.
Yeah.
And when we talked to her, we found out a few different pieces of information, and I think she shares them in the video she sent us, does she?
Yeah, so we'll play a little clip that we got from Andrea.
Hey, Jeremy and Darryl, it's Andrea Michaud from St. Catharines. I just wanted to wish you both a happy 50th and let you know what my favorite episodes were. As you know, and as some people might know, I started watching the episodes in reverse. So I did get all the way down to 1, but honestly, it took me a long time. I got stuck on Carrie Neal's episode. I honestly think I could script it at this point. Just learning the history of what women have went through in Canada and just sort of the history of the sport before I came into it. I felt it was really valuable to me, both as a woman and as a player. And that interview has really stuck with me, especially when I'm heading to a tournament. If I'm, you know, not feeling super confident, or if there's not a lot of women enrolled in that tournament, I find I listen to it even on the drive in the car just to pump myself up and just to think about how far the Canadian disc golf scene has come and how far some of these iconic women have brought things. I really love the episode with Kristen Swirls and with Colleen McInnes and Terry Hong. I know I'm kind of showing my gender bias because the ones with the women really just resonate differently with me. I've listened to them all multiple times and just I feel like I get something new out of them every time I listen to them. I also really love your recaps. Like, I've never been to Tundra Toss. There's a lot of courses out west I've never played. And just hearing those sort of helps me to feel connected with some of the names and players out west and some of the courses that hopefully I get to play and events I get to experience at some point. I also really love the Brian Fries episode. I know I'm supposed to pick one, but I'm doing a really bad job at it. Really, I love your show. I love what you provide to the Canadian disc golf scene. And I think it's really unique and amazing. I hope that you guys can do 50 more episodes. And I think it's amazing what you're doing for the sport, for Canadians, and just disc golf everywhere. I love you guys. Can't tell you enough how happy and proud I am for you making it to 50. Here's to 50 more.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So things like that, like when we hear those words from people, it doesn't it doesn't make it's not that it falls on deaf ears, but it's just like, hang on, are you talking to me? Like,
it's like
you think like that of things that I've done,
and then his heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we always say we want to promote Canadian disc golf. We want to promote women's disc golf. We want to just inclusivity for everybody. We want everyone to have a great time playing disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you hear those words back from somebody else that it's actually hitting people and people are recognizing it, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too modest or whatever, but I'm like, she's not talking about our podcast. Not me.
Yeah.
Jeremy does all the work. I just push buttons.
Yeah, right.
Monkey boy.
Right. Well, no, it's awesome. Thanks, Andrea. It just leaves me speechless when we hear stuff like that. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I noticed.
Just wanted to give a shout out to Kevin, who's in the chat. Hey, Kevin. Just wanted to give a shout out because we have some nice Kevin Toppin Redhead Woodworking minis.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a throwback as well, because this one, actually, Kevin printed on it. I don't know if you can really read that.
But on the back,
tip
it up maybe a bit.
I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
Yes.
So it's in wood now. It's ingrained in wood. Although, that is if your name is Darryl Henderson. We're going to skip over that part.
Kevin loves
Thanks,
that
Kevin.
too. That's a good one. And speaking of, minis and that type of thing, one of the things we were able to do this year was give away a number of prize packs and discs.
Yeah.
And we did a 100 subscriber prize pack. We did a 250. Chance Stad gave us a disc that we gave away.
Yeah. I want to take my earlier my answer back, Jeremy. The best thing I like about doing a podcast is giving discs away.
Oh, it's fun. Oh, you do enjoy that part? Yeah?
Yeah. No, I like it.
It's good.
I like the fact that we have a disc and we can give it away and then give it to somebody that, I know what it would be like if I got a specialty disc.
Yeah, and even too, we'd reached out to Discscape when they first started out as well, and they gave us that initial prize pack. We had everybody trying that starter set of the putter, the mid, and the
fairway driver.
And at that point, they weren't even PDGA approved, but I know 2 of the 3 discs are PDGA approved now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we've had a good relationship with them. We gave away those discs.
We actually sponsored an event that was going on.
Out in London, Ontario. They're doing a 3-disc challenge. We found a way to get a sponsor out there.
Yeah.
So,
and like you said, we've done the 100, we've done the 250.
Yeah, we'll do another one when
Probably
we get
500.
to probably 5. Yeah, but we won't start talking about that too much. Although we already have a bag for that.
We have a lot of
little goodies
built
for
some
that.
stuff up.
Yeah, we'll get there. And we had our first sponsor this year too, Darryl.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like we've already touched on it, the fantasy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Brendan from BR Disc Golf reached out to us and said, "Hey guys, would you like to have a sponsor for the fantasy episode?" So he, of course, we're going to say yes when Brendan
100%.
reaches out to us. He provided us with gift cards to provide to winners of the polls that we put out. We put out our teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you voted on the poll, if you picked your favorite team, you were entered in to win a prize. Whoever had the most points won the episode, and then depending on the points,
how much we'd give away
facilitated
for a gift card.
what the denomination of gift card it was. Yeah, so we
gave
appreciate
out
that.
11 $10 gift cards, $110 BR Disc Golf gave. We saw some videos. Miles Ladder won one. He showed us what he had won with that. And
Jeremy made a video of his mail call from BR, but we never got to see that one.
In the vault.
But no, we really appreciate Brendan's support of the podcast and the everything that he's done. We've met him a few times now. We
played with him and
his kids, which is so much fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. And he's so giving.
High five, Jeremy.
High five. He's so giving, Brendan, that even when I was up and at the basket and I was planning to sleep on my air mattress in the back of my car, he said, "Hey, I got room in my trailer. Jump in here." So, and then even served me some breakfast too.
Exactly.
He's always such a giving guy.
What could you ask for?
And not only did he give us all that, he also gave us a video.
He did.
What's up, guys? Just wanted to say congrats on 50 episodes. Enjoyed seeing every single one of them, being a part of some of them as well. Favorite memories is that wonderful mustache man that came on during part of my episode where I happened to skip out there. Don't know what happened there. Just wanted to say congrats on 50. Looking forward to the next 50. Thanks for supporting Canadian Disc Golf, and thank you for supporting us at BR.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he had said, did he say it took a little bit to get a chain out? He's just that good.
Yeah. It's surprisingly hard to throw a chain out.
Yes.
It's just like we say, if there's a tree in the fairway, aim for the tree because you'll end up missing
won't hit
it.
Yeah. Unless it was like Kristen Tatar there when it was like aim for the light post. Did you see that in the championships? And then she cracked the light. So there's some people who that rule doesn't apply to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not us.
You're not comparing yourself to Kristen Tatar, right?
No.
Okay.
Well, Brendan had mentioned about the mustache man, and I think you need to watch his episode and go to check that one out.
Absolutely.
And I think it's not far into it. It's maybe a quarter of the way in. But we had some real technical difficulties that one, and we just lost some of his footage.
Yeah.
We didn't have it, so we ended up having to be creative. And that's where Jeremy's mustache, was it Jeremy's? Jeremy Darryl's mustache man came in?
Yeah. Go back and watch the episode.
Go watch, you'll see.
Yeah. If we can get it, I'll see if I can get it for you.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about the secret words. And we were very committed to the secret words at the beginning. Why did we do secret words? What was our thought behind that?
The thought process was, when we first started, we would do a little bit of an intro, we would have the guest on, and then we would do our whatever else we had left over in the episode. And what we were finding was people were staying, watching the guest, and then they were chaining out. They were getting out of there.
Probably
And
like some of you are getting ready to do right now.
Exactly. How long is this going to take? So what we said was to reward the people that got to the end of the episode. If you've listened that far, sorry, I've got a hair right in my eye.
That's not the secret word.
No. Then we came up with a secret word. So only people that watched the episode to the very end, we told them to put the word in the comments on the video, but don't just put the word, because everybody will see, why is everybody commenting
just
whatever
with
the secret word is? Put it in a sentence, and then that way no one will know, but if you know, you know.
Yeah.
So we got people to stay to the end. If the people that stayed to the end put the secret word in the comments, we appreciated all the people that did, and we took it seriously, Jeremy.
Oh yeah, we would always respond, and we would try to be witty and use the secret word back or some type of variation of it.
But one thing we didn't want to do was we didn't want to miss telling people
the secret word was. And one time we did, but luckily you had a friend, didn't you?
I called a friend. I knew this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you do me a solid? Can you announce what the secret word is?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said this. You want to hear something? I hear there's a secret word on the street. I don't know nothing. But I hear the secret word is horse feeder. But you didn't hear it from me. There you go. He's a guy that I can always call.
Yeah, you could always bring him in.
Yeah. So, here's a question.
Yes.
And I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
But I'll ask for the listener. I mean, the listeners are not going to know this. Which guest do you think that episode was from? Or that clip?
The secret word was horse feeder.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
horse feeder.
So if you know, and tell us if you can remember whose episode where we would have used horse feeder.
Yeah.
It was actually quite a funny little story. It was kind of about the person's origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. And guys, if you've made it this long, what we wanted to do is we've had some fun. Like we said in the pre-records, there's something about Darryl and I, when we get laughing at something, it becomes a trigger for us.
Yeah.
And what'll happen is one of us will start smiling, and amazingly, I can usually keep it together, but sometimes we can't. And when we were doing the pre-records and we knew that we could cut and redo and stuff like that, we had a lot of moments where we broke.
We did.
Yeah,
we got 3 little clips coming up for you here. So hopefully these...
Yeah, hopefully before we show them, though, this was also, Kristen mentioned it, one of her favorite parts, and we thought we'd share some of them. So 2 of these are ones you might have seen in the episodes, and one of them is one that you've probably not seen before.
Just while we're saying that, Kristen actually missed that clip of the Secret Spy.
Oh.
Probably because Kristen didn't stay around to the end of the episode, so yeah.
Well, I mean, we were told we were going on a little late for some people at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And quite a few people got it right in the chat. Miguel Alvarado.
Oh, good job, you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wasn't sure anyone would get it, but that's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, here's the clips for you to enjoy. Okay, go.
Hello, everybody.
I know it's... I'm not going to be able to keep a straight face. I'm trying not to look at you. You all excited for episode 7? First
Episode
one of the
7.
new year.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
I know what that means.
Everybody knows what that means.
Ready? Happy
New Year! I got there in the end.
Hey, everyone. Jeremy and... We got to laugh a minute. Hey, everyone. Jeremy...
That was like...
Oh.
Okay.
Hey, everyone. Jeremy and Darryl here from Chain Out Podcast with this week's guest reveal. That's right. It's a crying baby.
Like perfectly timed. Like, wait till this quiet. and then cry.
Just so you know,
That's right, I
all of
forgot.
you people out there recording shorts don't have a crying baby in the background.
They still make me laugh, even though I know I've watched them like 20, 30 times.
Well, and the thing is there's so many. Maybe those are ones for the vault as well. Hey,
Yeah.
because we've got a few more of those. There's a number of them, and it's good. But I think, Darryl, as much as we've had funny moments on the show,
Yeah.
there is a crowning achievement of.
Oh. This was so funny. It was so hard for me not to be disrespectful and just burst out laughing.
Yeah, we had in this one. We were live at the time. I think we
Yeah,
were.
we were live,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we were live. We had two guests on, and one of the guests was Blake Belding from Cold Garden. The other one was Jordan Alway. And this is just to set this up. We had them on. We were talking about the newly formed Cold Garden Cup and kind of what was going on with that. And we were told that the trophy was something to behold. And Jordan, and we love him so much. And Jordan, if you're watching, thank you for allowing us to use this and having such a good sense of humor. But he came up with one of the funniest moments.
Yeah.
Now, Blake, did I understand it right too? Is with the trophies that they're going to be up on display in Cold Garden Beverage Company?
Yeah, that's what we're hoping to do. I think we'll let the winner take it home for a while, like the Stanley Cup tour around, drink out of it on the parade that I'm sure their hometown will throw for them when they found out they win and all that. And then yeah, maybe get it back in the brewery for the dead of winter and kind of have it on display and just something to
That's awesome. Anyways,
you okay, Jordan?
Oh, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the trophy.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Is that like a mini keg or something?
I can take it apart and put it in a case if I really wanted to.
You can even have the white glove treatment. And here's a thing to convince the winners: that keg will be full. You can take it home, and when it's empty, then it's got to come back to
That'd be a
the
great
Cold
point,
Garden.
Actually, we should do that. We could definitely do that.
Oh, that's so funny, but I'm looking at I know it's coming.
It was great. And again, Jordan, thanks for letting us share that one.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So the Cold Garden Cup was a great success, and that cup would have went to we know it was Heiserbaum Hong who won on the FPO side, and then also Noah Higgins who won on the MPO side. So I don't know if Noah's bringing it to Australia.
Hopefully.
Showing it off for
Yeah.
Whiff Diff, showing what he did.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Noah, actually, because for people that know that he had some issues earlier in the season.
Some health challenges.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, he was unable to drive for a while, but he recently posted a little video. Maybe he shouldn't have posted it that he was driving or he was behind the wheel,
he's
but
back driving,
he
yeah.
was back driving again. So hopefully, fingers crossed for Noah. I think he's on the mend and everything's looking good for him.
Yeah, and I saw a picture of him and his mom, Rebecca, and we got to meet them actually for the first time down at Spring Runoff, which
Yeah,
was
and-
awesome. And we've seen them a number of times at other tournaments, but they were just starting their journey, and it was Edmonton to Vancouver to, all the way to get to Perth, Australia.
Yeah.
It was kind of all the flights there. So hopefully they have a great trip. We can't wait to cover some of that and follow along for Whiff Diff too. But yeah, that kind of gives us, we had a spot here where we could answer a couple more questions. So if anybody had a question in the chat, go ahead and give us a question now.
If you've
But we
asked a
had one
question that
more.
I didn't see, put it in again.
Yeah, just re-enter the question.
Yeah.
But I think we have at least one more, did we?
Oh, we have a few more, I think.
Okay.
Okay, another question from Mason.
Okay.
Mason Howard, who was on our junior episode.
Yes.
He wants to know, who are 4 Canadians you think will have a good 2025 season?
Oh. Well, I know that he wasn't leading us there.
Yeah.
But I would say definitely Mason. And one of the things that I could say about that, if I was going to pick 4 people, and I would put Mason in there, and all my picks are going to be probably
Friends
maybe
of the
not
show?
so surprising. They'll be friends of the show because we know more about them.
Yeah.
And also some of our younger players because just what we've seen them do. So with Mason, when he was on the show, as I said, I wasn't hosting that one, so I had to listen. I got to listen to that one back, and I enjoyed that. And one of the things about Mason was that he was talking, and we put it out as a short because it was just so moving and just showed his maturity for his age. As you had asked him if his friends from school play disc golf with him, and he said something about his friends actually think it's uncool and kind of called him a loser or something like that for playing disc golf. And he just said, hey, you know what? When you guys are sitting in front of your computers playing video games all day and I'm out there making money doing the thing that I love, we'll see who has something to say then. And when you've got an attitude like that, there's no way you're not going places, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's one thing that amazed me and my great co-host Gabe was what his attitude. Yeah, it was just, it's so easy. I mean, I was that kid. I was a kid that used to get bullied, and rather than do something that I enjoyed, I maybe didn't do it because I didn't want to get picked on for doing that one thing. So I probably missed out on quite a lot,
right?
Just because I didn't want to stand out in the crowd. So for
that,
him to stand up and be like, no, I'm going to do it regardless of however you say, that's a great attitude. And I think, yeah, definitely he's going to be going, we've already seen him win some tournaments this year. Definitely think he's going to have a great 2025.
Yeah, and on that episode too, of course, Kai and Gavin were on there, and Gavin's a beast. He throws things like you wouldn't believe. Kai is as well.
Yeah.
I think the one thing for those
4 people, Jeremy. 4 people.
Okay. So I'm gonna say the one thing about those boys there, and that is that what happens is when you're young, you're kind of growing up, and it's very easy to fall out of a sport. So you like something for a while and you move out. So there is something to that. But one person who I don't think is going to fall out of a sport, which I would say would be my second pick, and then maybe you can do picks 3 and 4.
Sure.
Would be Rebecca Dawn.
That was going to be my pick.
Rebecca Dawn, when she was on the show, she was just so well spoken. She'd already been going down to the US, and it's almost like she's so surprised at how well she's doing. Like, it's such an endearing trait. Is she's like, I went into the last round of the Rip with a 10-point lead, and I just didn't know if it was going to happen. It's like, Rebecca, we knew it was going to happen. As soon as we saw you get a lead, there was nothing stopping you. So definitely, Rebecca Dawn, you're going to see her playing everywhere.
Yeah.
She, the next Whiff Diff, she's on the team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guaranteed.
I think Rebecca was going to be one of my picks because, like you said, just breaking into the sport and finishing so well, beating so many great pros at the Rip, and doing so well when she went down to Throw Pink. But I would say a person that I think is going to do well for 2025, and I think it's almost like an easy pick because this kid, if you want to call him a kid,
right,
just wins everything that he goes into.
I know who you're saying.
And I think you already mentioned him, but Gavin Beamish.
Oh, yes.
Gavin. Yeah, I think Gavin's going to do very well next year. I think he's, the sky's the limit for him. If he can participate in as many tournaments as he can, and if he can get, he's sponsored by Wildman Disc Golf, and Equin Discs. I know, maybe he's going to be with Equin next year or maybe not, but whoever he's with, if he can get some sort of solid sponsorship, I think that's going to do great for him. I think he's going to do amazing things.
Yeah.
If he wants to continue in disc golf, like you said.
For sure. And I think I know somewhere else. I don't know. I thought you were going to go a little younger than that.
Oh, and absolutely. That was going to be my next pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of an FPO, but you picked Rebecca Dawn for me. But I think you're thinking of the same person. I'm thinking of a person that likes mango slushies.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Nico Forbes. If there's anyone, I don't want to say, because there's so many levels to junior disc golf, but if you want to pick a young player to watch, if you've ever seen Nico play,
him and his dad, they're together and they post a lot of content on Instagram, and it's first shot content. It's not multiple shot content.
Right, exactly.
And he throws in, he's got a nice little sidearm that looks effortless. We asked him about it and got some tips from him, almost as our pro tips, as we like to do on the show.
Yeah.
And he was able to tell us. Of course, we also got the tip about the mango slushy, and we love that. And Nico, we hope you understand that every time we mention it, it's all out of love because we think it's the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going places. And of course, we talked to Brooklyn in that episode as well, and she put out the one we already know.
Yeah.
We're going to have to play her in doubles. We know she's going places when she's going to
mop
the floor with us.
It's so hard to pick 4 players, and we all picked kind of junior players or, in that category. But I mean, who else? I mean, Noah winning the Cold Garden Cup, coming back off quote unquote injury.
Yeah.
He's been down in the States. He played a few tournaments down there. Maybe, sponsored by Prodigy. Maybe he'll go a little bit further this year. If he didn't have all his illnesses or his hassles injuries that he had, maybe who knows what he could have done.
Oh,
Terry Hong.
Terry, everybody there. But
Exactly.
I think if
There's
we're
so
going to
many
sum it
people.
up, our 4 were Mason. Yes, we pick you for sure. We pick Rebecca Dawn. We pick Gavin Beamish. And we pick Nico Forbes. Yeah, those
There
are
you
our
go.
4. Thanks for that question. It's a great question.
From Tim Plamondon, to each of you, I want to know one thing that you wouldn't change about the other person.
One thing that I wouldn't change about the other person. Oh,
yeah.
This is the thing. I wonder, I always wonder what it would be like to be the interviewee as opposed to the interviewer.
Yeah.
And when we get the questions,
when we interview people, we send them a sheet, or you
is
send
that
them
what
the
it is?
breakdown, and you're like, "This is kind of where we're going. This is kind of the questions that we're gonna ask you." These are all on the fly. These are questions that we don't know the answers to. But one thing I wouldn't change about you, probably your, as much as it pains me to say this, because it's the opposite of me. Whereas is that a great idea? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
Your methodicalness.
Sure, methodicalness.
Methodicalness,
if that's a word.
Like your attention to detail.
Oh, why? Thank you.
And
yeah.
the way that you come out with these course outline, or the script outlines, the episode outlines. We've got it all set out. If you go back and look at our YouTube videos, they're
and the early ones there. Yeah.
They're 1 hour 57. They're 1 hour 59. They're 2:01. They're always right around that 2 hour. How we always get to be right around 2 hours, when that's what we aim for. But we can go off on tangents. We can drop segments. We can put segments in, and we always seem to be right around that 2 hour mark. So that comes down to your outline.
And we are getting there now, but we're a little bit. We're going to allow a little bit of flexibility.
Today
but we will
is a special
wrap it
day.
up for sure. It is a special day. We're celebrating. We appreciate everyone hanging around. What I wouldn't change about you is I wouldn't change about your focusedness and your specificity on things, which again, these are these things that if you got to know us, we are very opposite personalities in a lot of times. So as much as we enjoy each other, we can drive each other crazy. So I will text Darryl something and he'd be like, I already know that. Why are you texting me that? But the thing is, he definitely keeps me on task and he's persistent about making sure that we hit the things we're supposed to hit. So yeah, that would be it. There you go. Talk about the bromance coming to life live in front of your eyes, hey?
When you hang up here, will you be turning to the bowl game?
No, I will not be. That's and do you know what ball game he's talking about?
Well, I think they're talking about the baseball, because Brendan then said go Dodgers, and then Kristen said Yanks are trying to make the series of this, so I'm assuming it's baseball.
Well, maybe we should wrap up so they can get back to that. But
okay.
For me, no, I'm not too much. I will watch disc golf. I will watch hockey. I should watch
methodology
World Series, but methodology.
Thank you,
instead
Kristen.
of methodically. Methodicalness. So.
Oh, here's a question from Mark.
Okay.
On our long drive down to Lethbridge, what was the newest thing you learned about each other?
Oh, well, I don't know how deep we want to go with
exactly.
that.
These questions are getting deep.
Well, what we would tell
Just
you.
golf related only.
No, well, we could say this. When we drove down to Lethbridge.
Tim's got the perfect question. Perfect answer.
What's that?
Methodological goal.
That's a secret word, by the way.
Yeah, get that in
a sentence. You better cut that right now. You better snip that.
Put that in a sentence.
But I would say Darryl and I drove down to Lethbridge. That's a 5.5 hour drive or something like that. We were still that was our first big trip that we went on together. Mm-hmm. And that trip flew by. We chatted about everything, and we were talking about religion. We were talking about the wonders of the universe. There was a lot of conversations that were had
Disc golf pies.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to eat it all. You want your slice.
Exactly. Yeah, if you want to know more about that, maybe that's another conversation.
Yeah,
but
exactly. That'll be on Ask
But I don't know. That's what I would say. That was some of those things that we learned about each other. And I think too, what I would tell you is that was where we really learned that Jeremy likes to be out and about. Darryl likes to maybe stay home a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can go somewhere and I can sit and I can just do nothing. I can rest. I can relax. I'm in my own thoughts. I enjoy my own company. I'm totally fine being on my own doing nothing. And I don't want to say I'm not lazy, but if I have nothing to do, I can be on my phone.
You can keep yourself occupied.
Yeah, I'm okay with my own company. I don't go stir crazy if I'm quote unquote loner.
Yeah.
But
at the Airbnb we had a hardwood floor.
Jeremy needs to be something to do. So come on, let's go do this. Let's watch this. Do you want to go through some? I got to set up the net. Let's go through the net. Do you want to practice putt? Have you done your stretches? Okay, what time is it? We got 3 hours till we got to be at a tea time. Okay, what do you want? Do you want to watch it again? Watch it again. Jeremy's on them. Jeremy, just sit down and do nothing.
I'm doing my stretches and then I'm doing my stretches again. And
one thing, Jeremy. Okay, one thing I learned about Jeremy on the way down there is, and I think this is a kind of a mutual thing, is the fact that we're open to having a conversation, seeing other people's point of view, and accepting it, even though I value your opinion, but you're wrong.
Right.
But we can have a conversation. We can have differing point of views, but we know when to leave it and just say, okay, fair enough. You have your opinion, I have mine.
Yeah.
We don't try and persuade or dump on the other person for having a different opinion.
Yeah, we were able to talk about hot button topics that you probably wouldn't bring up at Christmas dinner or something like that, but it was fine for us to have a conversation.
Yeah.
So if you're into that type of thing, then next time we're going on a road trip, maybe you want to join us.
Oh, Brendan says maybe we should make it an extra long road trip to Nationals next year.
Ooh.
Brendan going to drive the RV or the truck, and we just sleep in the RV on the whole way there?
Well, that would be quite the conversation. I don't know about you, Brendan, but I've done that drive. And that drive is multiple days. You could drive it straight through, but you still need to take some breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that would be a lot of conversation. We'd either be taking flights home separately on that one or...
Yeah.
So, yeah, well, thank you for those questions. That kind of answers most of them, does it?
Yeah, I think we got one more in Instagram.
Okay, we'll do that. And then we just want to give you guys, so hang on if you're just kind of getting ready to wrap up. We want to tell you a little bit about what's to come. And we've got some exciting things. So we just want to mention a little bit about that. But we'll answer this one last question if we've got it there. I think we might be good.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, okay. So season 1's done. What to come? That's what I titled this one here.
Yeah.
What we've decided is we've heard from you guys. We've had some feedback. We've heard different feedback and things like, hey, when I'm on a long drive, I love listening to your podcast. I love how long it is because I like to take it and just listen to it as I want to and do that. But then we've had other people mention that when they're watching live, 2 hours is a haul. And we appreciate you always for listening to that. So we've kind of decided as we move forward, we're going to continue to do our interview episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do is we're going to cut those ones down to about an hour. So there won't be a whole bunch of banter to them is what we're thinking. And all of this is a work in progress. So we'll see how it goes. So we will do a little bit of a greet. We'll get to the interview. We'll hit the main points of that interview. We'll definitely keep Desert Island Discs. Origin story we'll talk about.
We've got to keep it.
We'll got to keep it. It might change a little bit there, but we'll do those things, try to get as much like punchy questions and get those answers that we can.
Yeah.
And that'll be the first hour.
But that's going to be the interview.
That'll
We're going to have a special guest on, and that'll be the interview. As you know, the interview segment of our podcast right now, imagine that as a standalone 1 hour segment.
Yes.
Then, as we are always talking about, we want to
continuously
improve. We want to upgrade the podcast. We're thinking of going down the route of opening up our Patreon,
which we've kind of had sitting for quite a while and done nothing with. It's just a Patreon that sits there.
Yeah, we have it. We've never used it. Just the same as we have Buy Me a Coffee or Buy Me a Beer on our Instagram. It's a little link hidden down at the bottom in our link bio. If you guys want to support us, buy us a beer. It's like
just
$2,
helps us out,
whatever it is, but it just helps us out. But on the Patreon side, what we were thinking is that we heard from a lot of our listeners that they like this type of format where we're just laughing, we're joking, we're having conversations, we're
reviewing courses like we used to do.
Yeah. More of a free flow conversation, debate night, whatever you want to call it, that type of format. So what we're thinking is maybe what we'll do is we'll put the second hour inside of Patreon, but for the start, when we first started, it'll be free.
It's just there on Patreon.
It'll be there. So we'll figure out how it's going to work. But the second hour will be on Patreon. There'll be different levels, but one level will be that you get access to carry on watching. So if you want to carry on watching from YouTube, you can watch us live. You'll be able to watch us have the discussions with whoever it might be. We might have special guests on.
Yes.
It might be me and Jeremy. It'll be more of this free flow format. And then we've also talked about on from that maybe at another level is if you get to a point where you will be able to, we maybe will run votes on which guests we want to have on next. And you as the listeners will be able to vote on that and be able to pick the guest.
Or help
topics.
us with questions for the outline, that type of thing. And the other thing about that is we just wanted to make a place for the people who really want to be part of the show. Everyone likes to watch the interviews. If you want the extra content, you can get that extra content. And we'll start to push some more things into that Patreon. So there'll be those, whether it's those 3-disc dice challenge and that. So the people who want to get that content can get that content. And hopefully that grows the podcast.
But then to top all of that, that'll be on the Wednesday. So if you want to watch the episode live, you can watch it on the Wednesday. If you're a Patreon, you'll be able to watch it whenever you want. If you don't want to pay for the Patreon, that's fine. The extra hour will then be released on the Friday is what we're thinking right now. So if you do want to watch the 2 hours, you can watch the first episode 1 hour live on Wednesday. You'll be able to watch the second hour pre-recorded on the Friday.
Yeah, and we'll find and we'll take feedback from you guys of what you want to see in that Patreon. So if you guys really want to see, even though it's probably not as great as we're talking about, it's some of that secret content, and you want to see what episode 1.2 looked like or episode 1.3, maybe we'll put some snips of that. Yep.
Something like that. That's what we're thinking season 2 is, because like you said, some people say that they don't want to sit down for 2 hours.
Another thing, and we'll talk about a little bit more, is that we did a little bit of stickers this year. We were handing those out like you wouldn't believe. We did hats. We did that type of thing. But we've this logo, as we've talked about, was just made on Canva by Darryl and I. We just put it together.
Yeah.
So we are having some thoughts about getting that changed, and we'll put some more information to that. But when we do, then we're going to be looking to have some actual gear that people may want to have, whether it's a hat or, maybe it's a disc. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's a jersey. Yeah, exactly. We've had some chats about that type of thing. So then those would be available for sure. And I'm sure another thing about that is if you're supporting us on Patreon, you'll be a first one to get a chance at that and maybe a discount or whatever it is. So it's all going to be new. We just want to make you aware that it's going to be there.
But it won't be this logo though, Jeremy.
No. These are the OG.
Yeah. We have an idea, which we'll probably talk about next episode or sometime soon. Are we going to announce it? We're going to talk about it?
Which?
About the new one?
Here we are. This is an audible here. Yeah, go ahead. Throw it out there.
Well, we can just mention it, but we'll bring it up and talk a bit more in depth.
We'll probably put out a reel or something like that.
But like Jeremy mentioned, this was just a quick logo that we designed. We got it. We wanted it to be our own. We didn't want to do an AI generated logo or anything like that. We wanted it to be something that we designed.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll probably be running a competition, opening it up to our listeners. Anybody that's graphically designed.
We know there's a lot of you.
Yeah, a lot of people that are out there that like to design things. Design us a Chain Out podcast logo.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for a new logo. We don't think anyone's going to want to buy merchandise with this little logo on it. We got the stickers.
We have some ideas. We want to keep it still fairly simple, fairly minimalized. We don't want something really detailed. But we're thinking like, Jordan Always out there, Mo Self Design. We've got Judge Havoc. We've got a number of people out there who are really good with graphics. So if you want to do that and you put in, if we choose you and you're the winner, we'll make sure to have you on the show and talk about how you came up with the idea. We talked about that.
You'll get a free hat, a free jersey, whatever merchandise we decide to do. That'll be part of the payment, I guess.
Yeah. But Darryl, it's been an awesome episode 50, and you guys got to hang on because we've got one more video for you.
We do.
But before we get to that,
we'd like to thank everybody for participating in the chat. I know we're getting late. People are talking about baseball now.
Let's get out of there.
Thanks everybody for supporting us over the 50 episodes. We really appreciate it.
We love you all. How do you do the heart? Like that. Something like that. Like that. I don't know. So it's there. Like thanks, guys. We love you all. Normally at this point, we will tell a fancy little story and we'll do our old chain out thing. But Darryl, what's better than one chain out?
2 chain outs.
Yeah, 2 chain outs. What's better than 2 chain outs?
Lots more chain outs?
Lots more chain outs. So
how about we end the episode with 50 chain outs
from
courtesy of Vice President of Edgar himself and supporter of the Chain Out podcast. We want to say thank you very much to Brock Shoschetti.
Yes, thank you. See you later, guys. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, congrats on 50 episodes. In honor of this, I give you 50 chain outs.